Bam! Facecheck semifinals edition, week 11 of the episode. I don't know how many episodes it's been. I have it as 11. In the books, we now have our 2 finalists. No big surprise. They also booked their tickets to Worlds. But I think the way that they got there was pretty interesting. Update on the Echo Fox situation, and of course, everyone's favorite talking topic, it's TSM. We'll get to that at the end of the episode. I'm Degon, joined by Zyrene, Dom, and Loco. Welcome back to this week's episode of Facecheck. Zyrene, how was your week?
It was good, dude. I picked up Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links.
What?
I'm already legend in that game. Like, it's actually just so easy. I don't know. I was bored, and I was like, oh, I'll play this, and I played it for 20 hours.
Loco, how was your TFT climb going? We haven't hit that in a little while.
So I gave up on TFT for a while after the Hextech patch.
No, this is what happened. This is what happened. Loco saw that I got Challenger, and he was hard stuck D4, and then he immediately just eliminated all TFT content from the show. That's what happened. I swear to God.
You know what? Holy shit. I actually said the exact same joke to my friends yesterday. So I was with Edison, Hotshot, and Saint yesterday. And then we were talking about TFT. And then I said, yeah, once I realized Dom was higher elo than me in TFT, I'd rather just not play TFT and say, yeah, I don't like TFT. I don't play TFT, rather than I play TFT and I'm lower elo than Dom.
Come on, dude. What's wrong with me being a fucking Challenger TFT player? I'm a literal 5-head, man.
So anyways, I talked to Edison and I talked to Saint, and they taught me strats, so I've been starting to play again. So
what'd they say? Just go brawlers every game right now?
Oh, they said nobles are still super OP.
6 brawlers, 6 nobles.
Damn, I don't want to say what they said so people catch up, but yeah, they said nobles and imperials are the best, and you should always try to be those 2 if you can.
Yeah, nobles, imperials, or you go 6 brawler and like have a Draven or a Jinx carry. Like, it's just race to Jinx and Draven.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like that game, like picking up on the meta is whatever. I just feel like you have to get down like the fundamentals of like how to like eco and shit, and like how much, like how to keep your win streaks and all that. Once you like have those fundamentals down, you're just like no matter what the meta is, you'll just be like fucking able to put it all together.
One like mega tip they gave me that I never did that really helped, as Zyrene talked about, like Draven and Jinx and Kayle are really important, and Swain in terms of completing the comp. So on like round 4-1, 3-1, and 5-1, you need to roll fucking fast. Like you need to go and then you need to look for those key units before other people get a chance to even like roll once. Like, and rolling fast on those rounds makes you the better player.
Yep.
Give them the D, dude, over and over again.
Dom, how was your week? You've obviously been changing your schedule a bit.
Yeah, no, I mean I've just been streaming a fuck ton. It's been probably like some like good streams, I would say. Like the content, like my duo with Rat and shit, like Rat IRL, IWDominate duo. That's a fucking that's some good YouTube and Twitch content right there. But man, it's kind of people have been running it down quite a bit in EU. That's all I'll say.
Dude, if people ran it down on me, but I still got 3K donos from one dude in 2 games, I wouldn't be complaining. You know, I'd be like, run it down on me again, motherfucker. Just go ahead. Come on.
But Dom's not here for the money.
Dom's not here for the money.
That's actually the truth, though. Like, it doesn't make me feel any better. Like, I was thinking about this. I would pay, like, anytime that somebody's inting me, I would literally pay, like, $200 to get them to stop. Like, instantly.
I would be like, you just set yourself up, bro.
No, don't say that, dude.
It's just like, I mean, I wouldn't ever actually do it because no one, I couldn't trust anyone. I would just be sending people money at that point. But, like, realistically, like, I would, like, if that was a real transaction, like, I could guarantee they were going to try it after I gave them money. I would give them money every time. I care more about just the experience and like not being fucking super tilted than the fucking money itself.
Dude, people in your game are now gonna be like, Dom, $200. Here's my fucking PayPal, or I run it down.
I'm pretty close to being out of like the hell. Like I'm like high Diamond 3. I think around like Diamond 1 Masters, like people, there's not as much inting. Like because I feel like it's mainly like the hard stuck D4 animals that were like plat 4 season 8.
Yeah,
like
true.
It's those people that are gonna fucking run it down. But like high elo people are just kind of like chill. They're like, oh shit, what's up? You're here. Let's play. Like they're just they're too concerned about themselves. The thing is, the people that are like Diamond 4, like they know that they're subhuman, so that in their mind, trading their time for my time is worth it because they don't view themselves
they're trading
as,
up,
like, having value. Yeah, that's like good. That's a good trade for them. But in high-elo, like everyone else, like they value their own time and they like think that they're actual like human beings. So they're like, okay, yeah, it's not worth wasting my time just to waste your time.
Yeah.
Damn.
They're like, I got to play a lot of games today, man. Like, you know, are we giving up on this one? Or are we trying? Okay, we're trying. All right, we're going to try hard for like 5 minutes. If things don't look better, all right, go next.
He just called me and Zyrene subhuman, and then Daniel didn't even get mentioned.
That's all right. That's all right.
What?
You called them animals. Subhuman animals. That's what you were.
The subhuman animals are the ones that are trading their time and inting on purpose. Like
I was like, oh, what the fuck, dude? I was like, holy shit.
Hey, that's just how it goes, dude. Watch out. You might get played.
All right. Speaking of teams running it down and crushing dreams. Let's talk about CLG and Cloud9. CLG, the team that we thought had the best chance of getting an upset. They fall to Cloud9. Cloud9 take care of business. Things go as usual. Everyone called the 3-1. I jokingly called 3-2. I will hold myself to it, but I thought it was going to be a 3-1. Did this play out any differently than what you thought it was going to be, Zyrene?
Actually, no. Like, this was actually very much so the series I thought it was going to be. Like, first game, C9, crush, and then it's like there's some hope in there for CLG. There's that little window, and then it just gets shut down again because C9 is just clearly the better team and deserves to go to finals over them. So I thought this was actually just like an as you would exactly expect series, in my opinion. Like, were there anything in that series that was surprised you guys at all? Because I thought that was super like by rote, by book.
I was surprised by like the champion pool that CLG like played a lot of. Like, I wasn't expecting to see that many assassins out of CLG. They don't even seem like an assassin team. You know, they're normally like control mage, and then they play like a lot of like things like Kennen or like Jace Top. Yeah, so there's like all those situations, and then they ended up playing like Ruin played Akali twice, and then they were playing Kiana. Like, I didn't think that Power of Evil could play Kiana. I was like, oh, this is probably just not his type of champion. So I assumed that like that was going to end up being a huge pick for Niski for Niski after the game where he played Kiana. I was like, okay, well, Power of Evil doesn't play Kiana probably, so they're gonna have to ban it, but he actually pulled it out, and they got like, you know.
Well, you know what I think fucking happened? Well, I think is what happens in playoffs all the time, and for people who don't know this, is you don't play in scrims the person that you're gonna play. You just play across the bracket, right? So everybody's playing fucking Clutch and TL, and like if they're actually losing to Clutch in scrims, and it's like Damonte playing Kiana, you're like, fuck, I think we might have to play this thing. Like, Damonte is actually beating us with Kiana, so like, how are we gonna do this? So actually, I think people on that side are more likely to pick up the Kiana than like, Jensen is to pick up Kiana because he's not playing against Damonte in scrims. So that's what I think happened is Damonte probably like blasted some kids, and then everybody's like, oh, this is actually a really good pick, and we should probably get on this.
It's just a broken season 9 champion.
Yep.
When did Akali get like so sky high in terms of priority? Because I remember in like regular season, she wasn't like must pick or ban, and then in playoffs, she became must pick or ban no matter what. Like always first round or first banned.
She keeps getting changed, and then it's like small things, and as soon as people figure out like the build or like what they're supposed to do with their pattern, like it completely changes. Because she got like different ratios added, things taken away, and she just gets swapped around all the time. So I feel like as soon as people figure that shit out, then she's like gonna get played again.
Yeah, the whole W team. So what people kept on saying was that I talked to a couple of like the mid laners in LEC, and they said that melee assassins are the counter to like Azir Corki, but everyone was like too afraid to pick it. Like they're just like, oh shit, like I don't know if I want to play. Like it's so much easier to just play the other side of the Azir Corki matchup and be like, okay, we're just going to even farm and pretty much be like the same exact champion. We're going to even farm, show up to team fights, and just try to do damage. Like that's just going to be our role. And melee assassins are actually like supposed to be decent against Corki. Like there's a bunch of picks that you can pick into Corki that are theoretically good matchups that people just are afraid to pick. So one of them that I heard was Yasuo is apparently really good into Corki. You just like every time that he comes anywhere close to the wave, you just burn his Valkyrie. Your wind wall is just super good. He can't really like stop you from just doing normal Yasuo things. Akali is supposed to be decent into Corki. Like all these matchups are supposed to be like playable, but everyone's just too pussy to play them. So I feel like people eventually just like took the break and they were like, okay, this is where we have some time to like practice the melee assassin matchups. Because week to week in LCS, it's really hard to like change your champion pool, I feel like, because it's risky. You have 1 day off and then it's like 4 days of scrims and then you're on stage again. So like you don't actually have that much time to like practice and work in new picks. like especially if you're kind of like fighting for lower seeding. But then, yeah, now I think that like if you have a buy or whatever, you can spend the time putting in the calling games and actually like bring it to stage and feel comfortable on it.
Yeah, there's not a lot of innovation that happens in scrims, sadly. It's you play the stuff that you know is good and you have to learn how to use it. So like you have somebody else prove to you that it's good kind of thing, right? Because your time is finite. So like not all people are going to be like trying Qiyana out in scrims, but as soon as somebody else shows them that Qiyana is good, they're going to put the time in. Right, because if Qiyana ends up being like a piece of shit champion, and then they put like a bunch of scrims in on it, it's like it's not worth their time. So that happens all the time. I think that's something in EU that they try more right now. Is they try those picks, especially because G2 like will now take those risks, and like their players feel like they can understand why a champion is good without having to like see that it's good.
Yep. What'd you think of C9 banning out kha'zix for the entire series? I was really surprised by it.
I thought it was really smart because that's exactly what Power Vivo, like Power Vivo, he played 2-0 games in the previous series, right? And that's the type of player that I feel like Power Vivo, like you're not going to get an advantage if you just have Nisqy versus Power Vivo and they're playing kha'zix versus each other over and over again. Nisqy's not going to be able to like show why he's the better like player right now. And Nisqy's the better player because like they want to give him matchups where he can actually like abuse the fact that he's more aggressive than Power Vivo. Just across the board, he's just a more aggressive player, and then he's like willing to like roam actively and just look for kills. Where Power Vivo is mainly just like he's on the like clear the wave as fast as possible, like kind of like Froggen type style, where you just like clear the wraiths, like ward, go back to lane, push the lane again, like that type of style.
Yeah. Their game plan was so good. It was just kha'zix, and when you're on purple, make sure you ban Yuumi so they can't first pick Yuumi. And from blue side, ban Camille. So when you first pick Aatrox, CLG can't run their Camille plus Sejuani counter. And that was just their backbone for the draft, and it worked out perfectly for them. And CLG couldn't find the answer. I'm sure they would have adapted if like CLG could find the answer, but they never had to shift away from the initial like draft plan they came up with.
Yeah.
Yep.
So this game really didn't throw like that much. I mean, I guess we're talking about a bit of a draft, I guess a draft advantage that Reaper has made here for them and playing towards their strengths. But again, it goes back to what more could CLG have done, I think, to try and get themselves a better advantage here? Or is this just going to happen no matter what, Dom?
I mean, I think that I feel like Wiggly was really affected by the first game. Because if you look at the first game, it's actually really hard for him to play. Like, if you just look at the draft, right, and all the lanes, there's like nowhere he can gank. I don't remember the exact. I don't remember the exact draft, but if you say it, like, or if somebody pulls it up, we should look at it.
I got it. It's Karma in mid lane, Varus, Tom Kench bot, Gangplank top. He was Sejuani.
Yeah. Okay, so you're Sejuani, and like, how do you gank any of those lanes? He has no matchups where he can actually gank, and I feel like that really fucked him for the series. Like, he just was playing uncharacteristically bad because I felt like the first game you go into it right, and you feel like you can't do anything. Like everything you're trying doesn't work. And then for the next two series, you saw him just like trying to force over aggressive bad ganks. Like we even saw like the top lane thing even in the first game where he's like trying to like he W's and then he tries to like flash predict, redirect the W to see if he can get the slow into like the top turret, like level 5. That type of shit is just like, okay, I don't know what I can do, but I want to be aggressive. You know, you don't want to go on stage and be a bitch as a jungler. You want to like be able to make stuff happen. So he's just trying to force shit to happen because he doesn't see like any logical options where it's like, oh, I just play off this, you know?
Damn, I forgot if it was you that told me, but someone said right now all good junglers can play Sejuani Jarvan. It's where you can start playing Gragas really well that like helps the drafts and that helps you play early game. Fuck, I really want to remember. I want to give credit to it because that's what it seemed. Yeah. That's what it seemed like. Like the fact that C9 could play Gragas meant that they could play early game and they could ignore the Jarvan Sejuani, and CLG just didn't really have tools. And even when they opted into, okay, we can't play scaling versus C9, we have to play early game, and they're running stuff like Jarvan Syndra, Elise, Qiyana, it just felt like they couldn't match them in the early game.
Yeah, they definitely couldn't. I mean, I think that their planning was like really, like, I really like the way that C9 played this early game because they were so methodical with like, okay, we burned a guy's flash, now we're like dropping deep wards, like pinking the path directly for the gank, and then just like dive. Like if you saw that first gank against Power of Evil in game 1, like how do you ever avoid that? They Predator dive you in between, like he was hugging the top side in between tier 1 and tier 2. and he gets killed by Kiana Gragas. Like, there's no way to avoid that gank, and it was just so like well set up, you know?
Yeah, it was. I think it was 4 Gragas games for Sens Garen. Like, he just got to play it. What?
One Rek'Sai.
No, he played
Rek'Sai. He played Rek'Sai. Yeah.
Lost.
Yeah, that was also because like their damage palette, it would have been all. It would have been like they had magic damage and stuff. So I think
Niski just ran it down that game. Like, he really ran it down game 3.
Yeah, I also think like playing Gragas opens up your compositions, because if you're only playing Sejuani and Jarvan and maybe Rek'Sai, like that's so much physical damage. And I know Sejuani has some magic, but Gragas just changes the whole like state of the composition. So when people are picking up Kiana right now, I expect the junglers who play alongside Kiana to play Gragas, or your top laners playing Rumble or magic damage dealer, right? Because otherwise you're just going full AD and then you're fucked. That's why it works so well for Clutch, because like Huni plays Rumble, right? Yeah, it's stuff like that. And I feel like the Gragas adaptation is really good, because Sejuani, Jarvan have just been so fucking like.
What else did they do? They did a draft where they had Aatrox Kiana. I'm pretty sure. Like, the Kiana game wasn't the same.
Gragas.
Yeah, because then they have Gragas.
So they had Gragas, and then they what did they play for AD carry with that? Was it just Xayah?
They had Ezreal.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Was that one of the Draven games or no?
There was a Draven game, but it was the one they lost. It's when they played Draven Morgan to Zyrakan.
Gotcha.
That was the sneaky game. Yep.
Yeah.
Speaking of Gragas, like Jarvan Seju, like both usually build full tank, and Gragas is one of the few junglers in the meta that can engage and that also builds full damage, and the full damage he builds is AP. So he's really unique in the role that he plays.
Yeah, because he's also like, you know, he has AP ratio on his W, so he gets more damage reduction by building aggressive, and then he can build Zhonya's and make fucking tower dive plays.
Yeah, the whole reason that build is so good is because of the Ingenious Hunter with Zhonya's, essentially.
Yeah, dude.
Your Ingenious Hunter lowers your Predator cooldown, so whenever you go Predator, you go Ingenious Hunter, and then Ingenious Hunter synergizes with Zhonya's, because your Zhonya's becomes like 40% or 40% less cooldown on that as well. So it's like 50-second cooldown Zhonya's. It's actually really insane.
Dude, I remember when what was it? It was people started playing Skarner Olaf with Predator. And like I was just telling everybody, like, Ingenious Hunter is the fucking way to go, because it even like lowered your cooldown of your trinket, and it was just like nobody was doing it. And then eventually they started doing it, and it just became like the predominant build. It's so good, even for like Skarners that are gonna get Righteous Glory later.
Yep, Righteous Glory. Lyra did Righteous Glory. I think he went Locket afterwards too. He was just like, all right, as many cooldown items as possible.
Certain rules are so fucking bullshit and way too fucking powerful. Like, what's that one that gives you healing from abilities?
Ravenous Hunter.
Ravenous?
Yeah,
Ravenous Hunter's Domination Tree is just so strong.
That bottom tier,
yeah, the bottom tier is so good. Like, Relentless Hunter is insane on junglers too. Like, out of combat movement speed is super valuable. So you have that. Ravenous Hunter is insane for healing. Like, things like Karthus. Think about this, like, Karthus is such an ulti-based champion. Ultimate Hunter is so fucking good for Karthus. Ravenous Hunter is better than Ultimate Hunter on Karthus, so all the good Karthuses take Ravenous Hunter instead of Ultimate Hunter, regardless of how OP Ultimate Hunter would be on Karthus.
Yeah, all of these are so fucking powerful that it's like one of the only decisions I ever have to like really think about, because, you know, you're like, oh, Legend Tenacity versus Alacrity. Oh, it's like, oh, of course I'm going to take this one in these games. But this one, it's like, Ravenous Hunter is fucking amazing for clear. You can get out healthier. It's great in big fights. Like, Relentless Hunter gets you around the map faster. Ingenious Hunter for certain builds. And then Ultimate Hunter, it's like, oh my god, dude. It's like, which one do you take on Nocturne? Like, god damn, dude. All this shit is just so powerful.
You take Ultimate Hunter there, I think, because you go Presence of Mind, Ultimate Hunter with Lethal Tempo. I feel like when you're not going the full Domination Tree, I kind of like... I like certain runes more. Like, I like Ultimate Hunter more when it's just like a side rune than when it's like I'm going Domination Tree guaranteed.
I can feel that.
Yeah, what's the yellow tree called? The Precision. Dude, that tree, it feels so underpowered. Sometimes, like, we're talking about what the Domination Tree does. Like, the third one where you have to take, where it's like cut down and that stuff. Do I want to do 10 more damage to tanky targets or 10 more damage to lower health targets? Like, that line sucks. So fucking sucks.
So that line sucks, but the other two lines are pretty good. Like, Presence of Mind on the right champions is insane. Like, Karthus, Presence of Mind, ridiculous. Nocturne, Presence of Mind, ridiculous.
Yeah,
but it's supposed to be for 80 carries. You're talking about like old base champions where like 80 carries have to take it, and then what do we take in that?
I mean, there it's like a lot of people just do like overheal bloodline,
overheal or triumph. Yeah.
So this is the way it works. If the game is going to be super bloody, then everyone takes triumph. So like in solo queue, a lot of AD carries will take triumph, and then in competitive, a lot of them take overheal because it's like so
gotta play like babies.
That's a trade off.
Yeah, just like not to be on fucking runes forever, but that third part of the precision tree, it stands out to me because all other trees, if you look at a certain line, it's like they do different things, right? It's like, oh, monoflow band versus Nimbus Cloak versus nullifying orb, like they all do different things. This is, you're gonna do damage. When are you gonna do your damage? Right? Yeah. How are you going to do more damage? And that's just not interesting.
It's just so little too. Like compared to the other trees, like I fucking hate going that. I always feel like a slot is wasted when I'm playing AD carry.
It's weird. I actually think that last stand is like hidden OP on certain champions. Like like a lot of people run Ku on Karthus. That's like one of the main.
Ku is just like the default. I think people are lazy.
So a lot of people take Ku, and I've always like Tarzan and I have been taking last stand forever. And like you look at your last stand damage, and in a lot of Karthus games, it's like 3,000 plus last stand. Because when you're dead, it's max, right? Like that is as much damage as possible. So if you ever die in ult, you're getting maximum value out of last stand. So that rune, I swear to God, people just sleep on. That rune is actually really strong.
Yeah, and it kicks in at 60% HP as opposed to coup de grace, which is like when they have 40%.
Yeah, 40.
So yeah, I feel like you actually get more out of last stand on average.
All right, let's get back to
I was about to say
yeah.
Rune nerds here.
Sorry, bro.
I would say we talked a lot about the jungle pool. Gragas coming on in and how it adjusts for the guys. I guess all 4 teams are going to playoffs. What do they need to pick up here in this final week, or is there anything that they can pick up to adjust for how Gragas is changing the draft for them, or that extra champion is changing that draft for them?
It's good for TL because Smithy's solid on Gragas. I mean, I think that the one thing that people need to I think that people need to adapt to the mid lane picks. Like, I feel like a lot of the mid laners can't play like everything. Like Jensen looks nuts on Akali. I want is he that good on Kiana? Is his Kiana as good as Demonte's, for example? Because everyone just feels like they have like the champions they want to play, like the things that they're really good at, and then other people just have completely different strengths. Like the most versatile is for sure Niski, right? But if you eliminate Niski, it's like, okay, Power People is like the Corki Azir guy, Jensen's like the Akali guy, pretty much. Like that's how I see him. And then Demonte is the Kiana guy. I don't think that like they really share those champions like well. Like I don't think that Jensen can play the Azir necessarily at a top level or play the Kiana at a top level. I feel like he's just kind of like,
well, he'll pick it up. It's Jensen. You don't think so?
I feel like he will, but like the more that the older I feel like he's got, the less he's been that assassin guy. And it's like, so I saw the Akali and I was really hyped. I'm like, okay, this Akali is a clean fucking Akali. You just saw the way he was playing his combos. Super confident on that champion. He was like, R flashing for kills, like all that type of shit. Great. Like Akali's a champion that's been around for a while. How quick is he at picking up completely new champions is my question.
So going back to CLG C9 a little bit, what do you guys think of Power of Evil's pool? Like the 4 champions he played was Ori, Kiana, Syndra, Karma. He actually seemed so out of place when that Corki Azir ban happened.
I mean, those just sound like regular champions for him regardless. Like Corki Azir are definitely like the S tier for the control mages, but I feel like he's fine there, but those things have like better counters that are available with assassins and stuff.
He just feels so limited when I just look at those 4 and I think back on, this is what he played when Corki Azir was out of the pool.
Really?
Ori, Syndra in this meta, when you're having to play versus Sylas, Kiana, Gragas.
I get that. I get that.
I think it's good into Sylas. I feel like it should be theoretically decent into Sylas because Sylas like taking Ori ult it's pretty hard to use. You have to R flash. It's the only way you can really use the Sylas.
The problem is just when it comes to the 2v2s, when you're playing versus stuff like Gragas, Sylas that can dive you, that can engage on you really easily, and like your Ori Jarvan, like you're never gonna kill the Sylas.
I mean, they won the 2. They were winning the 2v2s. The Jarvan Ori 2v2s. I felt like I remember one time distinctly, like over the wall in mid lane, like they just hard engaged just Jarvan with the Ori ball on him, and they just double Cataclysm, double Ori ult, just won the fight. So like, I don't even feel like that's that bad of a 2v2. I feel like it's definitely winnable because the big thing that's good about that is the Jarvan can be unkillable if he builds like Wiggly did, where he goes Cinder Hulk and Merc Treads. The Merc Treads are so efficient for Scroggus Silas because they're just full magic damage. So I don't know.
Maybe it works out. Oh, what'd you guys think of Ruin? I'm actually curious.
I was so surprised that he was playing Akali. Like, I feel like he's just not the Akali. Like, they don't play around him, right? He's a guy that's just isolated and does his own thing. So it was just so weird to see him play like Akali. I'm like, why do they suddenly want Ruin to play Akali and not? Can Power of Evil not play Akali? Like, why are they just giving it to Ruin every game?
Exactly. I think that's the answer. It's like Syndra, they need to
Ori,
take it away.
Karma, yeah. It can only go on Ruin, right?
Not play Akali.
I mean, he hasn't at all this entire split.
Yeah, well, I mean, I didn't think Kiana was, and he could play Kiana, so that's why I'm kind of like confused. Before I would have been like, no, but he played Kiana, right? So maybe he can play Assassins.
I mean, he hasn't played it all this split.
Since start of spring, yeah, he hasn't played it at all. He hasn't played it at all this entire year. He hasn't played.
Yeah.
This is the first Assassin
I feel like
Jensen
hadn't. I feel like Jensen hadn't played that much Akali this year either, though. Like it didn't. I didn't feel like Jensen.
Okay, but Jensen is a historical assassin player. As he said, maybe he doesn't play it a lot anymore, but historically, like he has played assassins like Zex.
You got to play towards the end
stuff,
of the split for sure.
Where Power of Evil is like the one assassin-like champion he played the entire time is LeBlanc. And then he has one game of Irelia. Other than that, I don't see any kind of champ that's like resembling Akali at all.
Yeah, besides for Kiana, right?
Yeah. That Kiana game is this series, but like the entire year, it's one Irelia game, one Kiana game. So for sure,
I don't know.
Play the Akali.
I mean, if that's what it is, if that's what it is, yeah, it's a huge weakness for your team. If your mid laner can't play, like most of them, that's like if your jungler couldn't play Jarvan. It's like, yeah, I only play Sedge, can't play Jarvan. I'll play Skarner or something. That's kind of how Lyra feels, to be honest. But
well, I mean, also if that happens though, it doesn't force your lanes to swap, right? Because like Ruin played mid with the Akali, right? Like they swapped lanes and put PoE Syndra top.
Yeah. Dude, winning lanes is so fucking important where people are doing obscure counter picks and people are doing anything they can do to win lane and they're doing stuff like late swap. And the fact that your mid laner can't play Akali and your Akali is no longer a flex pick, it definitely hurts them so much. Like thinking back on the draft a little bit more and talking it through with you guys, like, holy fuck, they got spanked in draft.
Yeah, I mean, they just have like better overall players, I would say too. So it's really hard. I don't feel like it's just like, oh, Cloud9 or like CLG's coaching staff sucks. I think that they're just so limited by what the players can play that they have to take losing drafts so that they have a chance of winning, so the players are comfortable enough to win.
Yeah.
You know?
It did feel like Wiggly, like you were saying earlier, Dom, got like more desperate throughout the series. Like the first game, he struggled. The second game, it was like, go ahead.
The third game, they should have just lost straight up off he played Elise and just got like, he was level like 7 when the bot laners were level 8. It was really bad. He was just getting shit on the whole game. Like he was getting like his red stolen in front of him. He tried to gank mid, just got killed by Sven. Like he was just he hardened the whole early game. So the fact that they even won that game and made it to game 4 was definitely not off the back of anything that Wiggly did.
Yeah. And then it was really weird going into the next game. I think he might have not changed his runes. Because he played Jarvan Electrocute with Sorcery Secondary, which is what he had on Elise. So I think in game 4, he didn't change his runes. Because in game 2, he played Conqueror Jarvan. So I think he actually was like really feeling the fucking pressure.
Wait, so he played the Jarvan game, he played the Elise game and then played the Jarvan game with Electrocute.
Yeah, he played
the Elise game. Okay.
Yeah, he played Jarvan with Conqueror, then Elise, and with Electrocute. Then he played Jarvan with Electrocute and Sorcery Secondary. And the Sorcery Secondary is the one that sticks out.
Yeah, that's he definitely fucked up his runes.
That's how they won the 2v2, the Electrocute.
Probably, honestly, because the whole reason that tank Jarvan is so strong in pro play is the Conquer. It's the fact that you can actually still do damage with Jarvan while building full tank. It's the only like redeeming quality, you know?
Yeah.
So if you don't have
Conquer if you're tank,
Yeah, Electrocute is only if you're just going to play like bursty Jarvan and you just like want to get a little bit more damage early game. It's the only time you would take Electrocute.
Speaking on C9's part, they did exactly what I thought C9 would do, which is take multi-angle fights and flank. I think C9's the best flanking team in North America. I think so many of the teams in North America are so honest about how they play. It's like, we have our tanks up front, we have our carries in the back, we're both going to take big 5v5 team fights, and that's how we're going to win. C9 actually split pushes, C9 actually flanks, C9 actually goes for multiple angles. I think them, along with Clutch, TL does it a little bit, but them along with Clutch do it the best in North America, like playing dishonest and actually flanking.
Yeah, I think a lot of that has to do with your top laner and his style of play. Because I think Licorice and Huni like fall into that shove lane to the T2 tower and then collapse and like just make the faster play rotating in. And I think their champion pools, they like to play that way because it really just puts them... Yeah.
What's another team that does that, Loco? Like a good example outside of NA.
G2? G2 fucking insane with that shit.
G2 play the map so wide. Like, it's just like bad teams in NA will play the map so narrow. Like, they'll set up for one objective. They won't use side lanes. They won't use vision that well. They won't have people flanking.
What's a fucking side lane, dude? Please tell me. NA ram all day, dude.
It's just kind of, I feel like that's just a symptom of people trying to play 1-3-1 and they try to play wide and then they just get caught. Because that's like the hard part is the wider you play, the easier it is to get caught, right? Like if you just 5-man and walk the fucking Baron to 5, no one can get caught, right? But if you have one person all the way bot with no TP, the other guy's top, like he does have TP, but he's gonna be 5 seconds late to the fight, and you're just walking around and controlling vision with 3. That's when like you just somebody got caught and you just lose Baron. I feel like so many NA teams have had that happen so much that they just have fucking PTSD at that point. And they're like, you know what, just fucking group. You know, like let's fuck all this smart shit. We clearly always fuck it up. We're just gonna group together, and that way we can't get screwed.
Daniel, speaking on what you said, like who in the other like parts of the world are doing this, like it's actually almost everyone. And where it's like NA, it's rare to see teams like this where in rest of the world where this is more of the norm, and teams like Splice in EU is like unique in the sense they don't side lane as much as like the other EU teams, or like teams like Schalke and their Fear, like they don't split push as much as the other EU teams, where rest of the world is all about like playing the map wide as possible. And the NA RAM, as much as it is a meme, it has so much truth to it. Like NA teams really don't use side lanes.
Well, it's because, you know, I think when you play in the middle lane, you aren't forcing anything to happen. You just keep the game state as it is until something disrupts it. Whereas when you use side lanes, you actually are forcing moves out of your opponent constantly, right? And that gives like more room for them to make an unforced error. And it also gives you more opportunities to have like a gap in their defense, right? So I think that it's very important that you just test them over and over again. Because if you even just like, if you just keep having your top laner push to T2 and then disappear into fog, like that's major pressure. Whether you're getting chip damage on turret and you can back up, or if you're forcing their top laner to miss CS, like just rinse and repeat. You're causing something to happen in the game state. Whereas if everybody just goes mid, which I see it all the time with NA teams, it's just you sit there and you're like, we're waiting for these items. So you're just slowly getting gold on people, but you're just handshaking everything. I don't know. It boggles my mind that people aren't forcing more out of their opponents.
Oh, you try coaching a team for a while. It is not easy.
Yeah, I gotcha.
All right, so any closing thoughts here on this CLG Cloud9 matchup, guys?
CLG was inexperienced, and Cloud9 was so experienced in playoffs, and they just like played them like fiddle. They made CLG look so much worse than they actually are. Like Cloud9 is so good at exploiting, and the whole Reaper 200 IQ drafting actually played a part. And like CLG couldn't get past level 1 of like what C9 has as a draft. Like going into a series as a coach, you have like multiple things you know you're going to do and how you're going to adapt if this part fails. But C9, they were able to keep the first 3 bans same on both sides. Like CLG didn't even really test them.
Yeah, I think that C9 C9 obviously looked like the best team this weekend out of like everyone that played. But I think that the main thing that CLG needs to take away from this is, for game 1, don't play something that's like really easy to roll over on. Don't play something that's like super, super difficult to get through the early game and then like late game scales to be strong.
Yeah.
Pick stuff where you can actually like get kills early and allow Wiggly to like play the game, because like Wiggly's a young jungler, right? Like this is his first time he's ever played in playoffs. Like he doesn't understand how like series develop, and I feel like it's harder when you're like first playing like series to not get affected by like how the series is going, to like be able to just put a game behind you. I feel like it's really, for his confidence, it'd be really good to just give him like he's super comfortable on Jarvan. It's probably his best champion. Give him Jarvan and give him some lanes to gank and like let him play with confidence, because CLG looks so much better when Wiggly's like controlling the map, getting ganks off, pressuring the game, and like snowballing like that, than when they're just trying to sit back and farm and scale. They literally started to look like, I don't know, Golden Guardians 2.0 with how they started playing.
and I actually think, like, Loco, you're talking about being a coach. this is my personal opinion on it, even though I've never like been an official coach or anything, is that if you play compositions that really have to weight the scale, or like the composition they played in game 1, there's way little more, there's way less to actually retro in between games. Because if you have a composition that has more agency in the early game, you can go, this is where we messed up, this is what we should be doing, we can make this move, and like you can feel as though you had control of that game. Whereas in Wiggly's situation, it's like you feel like you're just at the mercy of the draft, and you're at the mercy of what your laners are going to do or how much they're going to give up. So I feel like that at that point you throw your hands up, and it feels like the game was just a throwaway and it was useless in between games. Yeah, like you don't learn much from that.
Playing reactive, you definitely don't learn as much, and then playing proactive, you learn a lot more. But once you realize you're in NA, and you realize when you can pick champions like Azir and Sivir and wave clear to infinity, and people can't execute on you, and then you're like, wait a minute, this is bad for the long term, but in the short term, we can pick up so much wins playing Azir Sivir, and then you're like, well, I need to win. That's my job as a coach. Guys, we're going to play Azir Sivir. But I completely understand what you mean, but there is another side to it.
Yes, but they didn't play Azir Sivir in that game. That's the one where it's like, ugh.
No, that was a little bit closer to us playing Azir, Golden Guardian style.
No, it's not just Golden Guardians. It's just like in NA, like you play late game, you play wave clear, and people are so bad at execution. You're like, holy shit, we can just pick up games this way. This is bad, but this is also so good.
So we talked a lot about the effect that former coach of the split, Hangyu Bak Reapered, had there on Cloud9. I'm throwing a little curveball here for you guys. I just wanted to touch on it real quick. They listened to us. Coach of the split, Coach Kane, taking home the award here after we thought it was going to be Weldon. I definitely thought it was going to be Weldon. We did a bunch of research on other sports, like who normally wins Coach of the split. Usually it's not the coach that has the best team and wins the championship or puts himself in position. But after 3 seasons of winning, finally they give Kane the award. Thoughts on that? Whoever that was Loco, was that you?
I always would be fine with Kane winning. My thing is like, this was such a weird split for Kane to win. Yeah, I think Kane should have won in the previous split. I think it's
happens
criminal.
All the time, dude.
I think it's criminal. He didn't win as coach of the split, but this was a really weird one for him to win. So yeah, I'm okay with it, but I'm also like kind of what? Weldon should have won this split.
I think Weldon should have won. I mean, this was just felt like at the end of the day, he's coached the best team. Well, we'll see if they're the best team, but like presumably the best team in NA. He's coached for 4 splits in a row, and they kind of just viewed it as like, oh, we have to give it to him at some point. And they're like, whatever, might as well just do it now so we like get it out of the way. It didn't feel like, I don't know, I don't see why this split would stand out as like, holy shit, you coached super fucking well, right? Because they were first in the regular season, first in playoffs last split, and then they were first in the regular season again. Like, I didn't see a difference. So like, if he's gonna get it this split, why did he not get it last split? Is my question as well. He should get it both.
You know what's so weird? Weldon didn't even get second.
No, yeah. Looking at the votes here, casters basically voted Kane with some Reapered, and then like no caster put Weldon in the top number 1. And then the media was the one that actually voted a lot of Weldon. Players and coaches actually didn't vote for Weldon as well, except Apollo, Invert, and then the 100 Thieves boys, so Afro and Prolly. But everyone else, they were on the Kane or Reapered hype train.
You know, also one thing that was really weird was Dash didn't vote Weldon number 1, because Dash had the whole thing where he went to the CLG studios and like did saw what CLG did, and I'm sure he got to like listen in on scrims and like see what that coach did. I was like, for sure, Dash is going to vote Weldon because he got to see what Weldon does firsthand. And when he didn't even vote Weldon first, who did he vote? He put Reaper, Weldon, and then Kane. I was like, wow. He definitely didn't get to go to like C9 and see what Reaper does. So even when he saw what Weldon did, the fact that he voted Reaper was like really surprising.
I mean, I just feel like that's not what you have to like evaluate Weldon on. Like, you're not going to walk into the CLG scrim room or like the practice room and he's just going to be delivering like the best coaching speech of all time and like motivating every single fucking player in the universe. Like, he's not that type of coach. He's more like a process type of coach where he'll get them on the MAC program. Like, he'll just like have the players like slowly improve over time. Like, you kind of look at like the results and like the like where players started and where they ended up in the split, rather than just viewing it as like, oh, this is like some good coaching happening right now. You know?
Well, the thing is, like, when you watch a team, like, you'll see, like, how structured they are. And Weldon, lesson plans better than pretty much any coach I know, because, like, he actually has, like, coaching experience, and that was his job. Like, he coached swimmers or whatever. Yeah. So, like, his coaching and, like, his day-to-day is just very well structured and very well thought out. So when you go and look, you're usually really impressed. So, yeah, I'm not saying like Dash voted wrong. Like he has the right to vote anyone. I was just very surprised.
Buddy, why is he wrong? No,
I was just surprised by his vote.
I don't know. Coach of the Split's always so weird for me. I think Azael like declined to vote in general.
Yep.
Which is something that I kind of always felt too when I was doing this. Like if you even look at the spring split votes, like we're talking about like Kane should have won that one, right? Like last splits. I went back and looked at it. Number 1 was Reaper, number 2 was Zix, and number 3 was Kane. But then if you looked at the votes and actually tallied them up, Zix had 20 first place votes, and and Reaper only had 9. But Reaper beat him because more people put Reaper second than they put Zix even second or third, right? So Zix was first on almost twice as many people or over twice as many people's ballots, but he got second because more people were like, just like, oh, Reaper, we at least know what he does. Like Reaper at least talks publicly a lot about what he's doing with the team.
And the most outforcing.
And I think what's very highly valued, like being in the casting team, is you don't have all this information to pull from. You only get kind of what you see on stage. And 90% of the coach's job or 80% of the coach's job is done in the team house. And you can only really go off of what players say. So if players are talking about their coach and how well their coach is doing or how much their coach has helped them, that earns like major points for people when it comes to this award. Like I remember when Saint Vicious came in and people were talking about, oh, Saints really helped me out here. Like JJ's like, Saints really helped me with this and that. It's like, oh, Saints looking pretty good for our ballot vote, because nobody's talking about these other coaches and what they do in their post-game interviews, right? So that is something that I think is valued probably too highly, but it's only if players are really talking about it is when it pops up. Yeah.
Dude.
Waited too much probably.
Tony got a few votes. I'm not sure how troll it is.
Wait, Tony got votes? This split?
Yeah.
Wow. I guess there's based off Part's statement, there's a huge differential between what people think is happening and what is actually happening. So
Tony got a vote from coach of the year split. Kane. He got one from Kane.
Because Kane can't vote for himself. So
I think Tony's a great coach. It's just like this split, putting votes on Tony seems a little bit weird and seems almost trolly.
Well, especially when there's no context based off they didn't put out context until like weeks after. Like they didn't put out context to what happened with their truth, whatever. Like whatever they think they should put out, they didn't put it out about the roster in week 9 and quarterfinals until after the split already happened. So it's like, how could you?
We'll get to that.
Like, how could you actually know if it's good coaching or not? Because it looks fucking weird.
Yeah.
Dude. And also, like, regarding the coaches and like being outwardly facing as a coach, I mean, I was one of the more outwardly facing when I was a coach. But when you think like coaches, like Reaper and Weldon, like they are way more publicly outward facing, even if like. I think it's really hard to win as a coach, and I think it is so weird that Kane won. Not that he's bad. It was this split. It was so obvious it was going to be Reaper and Weldon just due to like their actual personalities, and they have a brand and they talk a lot. So like you're way more inclined to vote for them than Kane.
Yeah, there's always a little like back history too. Like I know there were times where it was like Zix should have won the award, and people then the next split go like, ooh, well he didn't win last split. And there's a lot of voter fatigue. Like if Reaper is like a top person to vote for like 3 splits in a row and he's like already won it, people go like, is Reaper really like, is he? And he like his team did really well last split, but not as well this split. So like they knock him down for that stuff. It just happens all the time. Whereas Kane, it's just like, now you go, he's been consistent for fucking so many splits, like 4 splits in a row. I guess we got to give it to him now. Like even though CLG is like having a turnaround split, it's like, you got to give it to him now. Like, how long can you deny him because you haven't given it to him the entire time that his team has gotten first?
Yeah. I mean, I don't even think that like is the thing that hurts Kane the most. I don't really think it's about publicity. I just think it's the fact that his team is just so much better. He just has so much better players than everyone else, and that's the thing that muddies it. Is like, I mean, we even said before, if TL had no coach, like, how good would they be? they would still probably be like one of the best teams in the league with zero coaching if the players just played themselves and like discussed amongst themselves.
Congratulations.
So, like, yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Like who, like, I don't know. I feel like any coach is gonna win with TL, which makes it harder to give it to Kane. It's like how like Kane could maybe elevate them to another level, but it's like the team is already expected to be so good that unless they're just insane, it's hard to give it to Kane.
Yeah, and Kane's in that position where if he even does remotely poorly, like, holy shit, everybody's going to be all over him, dude. Everybody's going to be all over him. And that's the thing that happens in sports all the time, is if you have a bad team, but they do well, you're like, it's the fucking coach, dude. The coach is so valuable. And if you have a good team and they do poorly, you're like, it's the fucking coach, dude. He's a piece of shit. He's not getting his team together. Like, that's how it ends up going. So if your team is good, but they're performing poorly, first person to go is the coach. And if your team is like not like normally good players and they're doing well, coach is the first person to get praised for that.
It's how they're perceived, right? It's how the community and stuff perceives them rather than if they're actually good or not, right? Like look at the Misfits team. The first thing that happened in Spring Split was they just kicked Jesses, right? Like they kicked the coach halfway through the split before they even did anything with the players. And if you look at the players, like they all were considered historically great players. So as Max Lure had that run in 2017, you have Fabivin, Hansama, Gorilla, you have just like players that everyone thinks is a good player on that team. Everyone is like the top half of the league, at least in terms of skill.
Yep.
And they just ended up like the players actually just looked bad. Like even when they had different coaches, whatever, like it looked like the players were actually outmatched and they weren't good. But the first thing is you don't want to believe that these players that were good for so long are just suddenly bad. It's like how could fucking Gorilla be bad? He's like somebody who's been competing or been considered one of the best supports, if not the best support in the world for years. And now he's bad in LEC. No one wants to believe that. But I mean, at the end of the day, that kind of became the reality by the end of the split. He was just straight up playing worse than the other supports in LEC.
Yeah, coach is the first scapegoat for teams. Always.
Oh, I know too well.
Always, yeah. You're the first person to be blamed, and then if the coach gets removed and replaced with a different one, and the team like still performs poorly, like then it's like, well,
and you blame the players.
Yeah, then it's like, guess we have nobody to blame anymore. Looks like they have to take responsibility, and actually maybe they are bad now. Like, yeah.
All right, look, I'll get us out of here before I get in trouble. Just a quick hit. Rookie of the split. It's our boy Fake God.
Wait, how many rookies were there? I was wondering when they asked it.
Fake got too much Fika Yusui.
3?
Yeah.
Oh,
Fake.
Oh wait, so yeah. Okay, wait, that doesn't even count because those people didn't even play. He's the only one that actually played like the majority.
And
there's 4 more.
There's one more, Loco. There's one more. How could you forget?
It's Dom's favorite player.
He actually got no.
He actually got a Steve.
No, he didn't.
But wait, who voted for Soligo? Where is this? Wait.
How?
The Score Esports.
Oh, here, it's our boy Clayton Captain
it?
Flowers Reigns also voted for Soligo.
No, fuck Clayton. Hold on, I gotta call him. Hold on. Is he awake right now? Hold on.
Yeah.
Oh,
and then
there's
the
no
Score
way.
and the players lobby.
Dude, I think for most media people that didn't pay a lot of attention to the split, they probably couldn't name 3 rookies that played.
I mean, yeah. I would like it depends if you want to view it off. If you view it off just like who played if you view all their time played as equal, it's like okay, even if Kuma only played a small amount of time.
Wait, Dom, here, get him on the phone.
Flowers, speaker. You're on speaker right now. You voted for Soligo for rookie of the split
for 3rd, yeah.
Why is he even on your ballot, dude? What did he do? What did he do for you? Get you a present? He get you a drink?
Who was the other options? Because I'm pretty sure the other options, I literally, I felt like they were invalid to vote for.
Yusui, Panda, Kumo,
Yusui, Panda, Kumo, Fake God, Spica.
I voted for, my number 1 and number 2 were Fake God and Kumo.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yusui and Panda, I'm pretty sure they lost both their games. I'm just not fucking doing that. And
Soligo lost all of his games, right?
I saw him play 2 games. That's not nothing to fucking vote on. Absolutely not.
All right. I can respect that.
Soligo. Yeah, it was Soligo or leave the thing blank based on my.
Why did you leave it blank, dude? Dude, Jat left it blank.
Pastry left it blank.
Oh shit, dude. I love you, man. We gotta get drinks sometime. All right.
Oh my god! Imagine on the call, it's like, sure, we'll get drinks.
after we're done with Detroit this weekend, it's Labor Day weekend, which is fucking free. And then Gauntlet, which I don't even know who's casting what for Gauntlet.
Yeah.
2 more free weeks before you even get to play it.
Dude. All right.
Tons of free time.
That's a lot of time to drink.
Plenty of drinking time in September. You guys believe.
Oh, hell yeah, dude. All right. I'll hit you up.
Bye, Clayton.
Sounds good, buddy.
All right, man.
Take it easy.
Yeah, you too. See ya.
So even the casters, that's how bad they view Soligo. They're like, shit. Like, the only reason I put Soligo on this thing was so I didn't have to leave it blank.
He's the free space in bingo, apparently. Like,
this is a sham award. Like, fucking rookie of the split. Like, you're voting out of 4 people.
Yeah, but
I love Fake God. It's just like, this is not a real award right now.
The person that played the best was Kumo, for sure.
Yeah.
Out of all those players, the person that played the best was Kumo. But, like, I definitely, from what Yasui showed, he looked better than Soligo.
He was probably the best,
He was at least playing aggressive, you know? So, like, come on, dude. You can't put Soligo over.
Dude, I remember when Dardoch won Rookie of the Split, it was like Dardoch, Stixay, Matt, Lorlo. Like, it was an actual fucking season. It was between like Dardoch. I mean, this is like, what the fuck? Like, that was like actual like rookies competing. There were rookies like that were competing for almost
just
like, best in their position, where it's like Fake God was functional and like he was on like a really hard situation, but like
it
was
he played bad, right? Like, we all had him at second or third worst top laner in the entire league, including the other rookies that played like Kumo, etc. So it definitely was not a good award. Yeah, I mean, this I would not be proud of this fucking award at all if I was Fake God. Like, it doesn't mean you did well. It means that there was like you're the best out of like the nothing that people had to vote off of. Like, you're the only one that actually played on the team, really, out of all these other people.
Look at the highest.
Yeah. We're getting close to a point where Rookie of the Split is not going to have 3 candidates, and Riot's going to have to do something.
Yeah, I mean, they've even changed the award criteria over time, because I remember being there, and it was even like a time where like Laud played a split, and he's like, I'm looking forward to being Rookie of the Split, and then we looked at it, and it's like, actually the rule says if you've played like 2 games in a different season, you're no longer a rookie. And so like when he subbed in for like Ember Fox or whatever like that, like back in the day, it was just like that disqualified him from being Rookie of the Split. In the split, he actually played multiple games, like multiple weeks. So subbing in actually fucked a lot of people out of rookie chances in the past. And they changed that because they need to like actually have rookies. So I think for EU or like other regions, like this is an award that you can probably keep because you have fresh talent coming in all the time. But when you're rookie, that like you have like what 3 rookies, 4 rookies, 5 rookies, and most of them only played like 4 or 5 games tops. Like Fake God played 15, and that's the most out of all of the rookies. So he's like kind of just the placeholder for the team with Someday out. So it feels like it's a default award, and I think that this should be replaced in NA with Most Improved. Yeah. So I think like an award like that is going to be more controversial because people can have a wide variety of opinions between splits where it's like Most Improved from spring.
All right, if you guys had to do Most Improved, who would you guys vote as Most Improved?
This is hard, right? Like I got to think about this.
I got mine, but I think mine's pretty obvious. I would say Wiggly for sure.
Wiggly. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Actually, yeah, that one's hands down. You're correct. I think
I was thinking Wiggly, the hard fringe one.
Oh, Cody's son maybe, but
Cody's good.
Playing.
Oh, I mean, he didn't play. He didn't play in spring, so like
I guess if the criteria is
he's off the bench,
great.
Yeah. True. Oh, who needs a good one? Actually, chat's really good for this. Chat's really good when you have to brainstorm. That's what I realized. Like Twitch chat is great from brainstorming, but if you have to find a smart solution to something, they're actually terrible.
Yeah. Because like when you're brainstorming, there's no such thing as like a stupid idea. There is, but like you have to think that there are.
Because it's just like throw out names. And it's like whatever,
they're great for ideation, but when you're like, okay, I have this specific problem, how do I solve it? Just don't listen.
Oh my god, I literally could not stream fucking high rated TFT games like with chat like trying to back. Oh my god, that's so cancer.
Scar said something that I thought was actually really accurate. Where if somebody asked him like which feels worse to lose in, TFT or League, and he's like, it feels worse to lose in League because I care about it a lot. But when I stream, it feels worse to lose in TFT because you guys are just gonna fucking like say everything that could have gone wrong and right. Like he's just like, you guys are gonna be like, you could have had Draven too. It's like that's probably the same Draven. Like you have to explain to every idiot the exact same thing every game if you look at it, right?
It feels way worse to lose in League to me because like in TFT, there's not. It's just like what you did and then the RNG of the game. Those are the only two components that like that influence your outcome. In League, there's so much different shit that influences your outcome. It's just like there's so many different ways you can get fucked in League. Yeah, you can get level 1 cheese. You can have people DC, AFK, run it down, like fucking first timer people first timing champions, like one tricks off their one trick. You can have these people that are autofill that said like there's so many different things that go wrong in League. It feels so terrible to lose.
Yeah, it feels terrible to lose. Like Scar's saying, it feels terrible to lose. Like personally, like he cares more about like his rank in like League of Legends. But when it comes to when you're streaming and you lose, like losing in League, it's like, oh well, this happened in the game. My bot lane fed. This happened. It's like in TFT, chat's gonna be like, you should have done this. You should have done that. Like, whoa, why did we go for this? Like, and he feels.
I feel like it's more obvious. Like more people will backseat, but I feel like it's more obvious when people are like super retarded in TFT. At least to me, where it was like, oh. Yeah, I should have been picking up all the Dravens and been going for a tier 3 Draven. That was the play. Definitely that over like ecoing or like, trying to like form a team comp or leveling up. Yeah, no, I should have been collecting all of those Dravens and tried to look for that tier 3,
Tier 3 is a trap.
It is.
Yeah, tier 3 4 cost units. Excellent.
Tier 3 anything is a trap.
Except 2 cost. No. Like that's it.
I feel like you have to save up so much on the bench and you lose so much interest overall.
What was that? I think I was playing a decent amount of like tier 3 1 cost.
One cost? Really?
Yeah, I forget what it was. I mean, obviously Gunslingers was a huge one, but
I'll say this. With the new units added, I think tier 3 was already bad, but with Hextech added, like tier 3 becomes even worse because the pool got diluted so much.
Yeah. Anyway, less TFT, more League.
Yeah, I was gonna say the best way to win a League of Legends game is get the tier 3 players in the LCS, get yourself the tier 3 coach in the LCS, and then go 3-2 against Clutch Gaming and almost lose here. Team Liquid getting the victory here against Clutch. It was a series that no one expected, the result that everyone expected, but it was a lot of fun. And what does this kind of tell about both teams here, Zyrene?
I think it's like big shout out to Clutch because I thought they didn't stand like a snowball's chance in hell. And they showed that they can actually play for even like the mid parts of the game, the later parts of the game with Cody's son now. So I think that their drafts were interesting and they showed that they had unique strengths still with kind of what they showed in the quarterfinals. But it's ultimately like TL's experience and especially like the game 5 pressure for them seemed to be what came out on top. So I think like big shout out to Clutch because they actually put on a hell of a series and I didn't think it was going to be close. But TL, man, this is one of those things where you go, I can't tell if TL is playing poorly and like we should be worried about them against Cloud9 if like somebody's a TL fan, or if like Clutch Gaming had actually like stepped up a lot in the last weeks because their trajectory looked really good.
I thought it was very clear that it was more like TL playing poorly to me. Like I saw like look at Court JJ, right? Think about like that. Okay, he didn't play horrible
the games later, yeah.
He didn't play horrible this series. But think about how good he normally is. He's normally just like almost perfect. And then like this series, he was just missing like random skill shots and like he just looked weird. He looked off like the entire series. Impact looked off too. Like game 4, he pretty much lost the game alone on the Jace. These players normally play so much better than that. They're so consistently good, which is what I feel like makes TL normally this really scary team, is that they don't have series like this. But I mean, I felt like, Clutch won the way we said. If you go back to last week's episode, it's like, how can Clutch win a game? It's like, oh, if they get their Rumble Kiana bullshit. Well, they got Rumble Kiana, one win with Rumble, one win with Kiana. Okay, those are the only 2 wins they get. Like they're nowhere close to as good as TL. I feel like this was like a freak. Like I feel like if you play this series 10 times, TL wins like 9.
Dude, I actually disagree because so in the TSM game where they play Rumble, they do this thing where they late swap. They do it with Gangplank also. They late swap their bot lane to top side and they play for Herald.
And they get the Herald at 11 minutes.
Yeah, while Lyra starts Herald early. And then the Rumble or the GP goes bot side. And if you didn't match them on the swap, 1, you lose Herald, and 2, you can't take turret on the other side because it's a Rumble or a GP, and they just ult the wave from maximum distance. And this is how they got first turret and first Herald on TSM 4 times. So I was like, oh, teams like TL aren't going to fall for this. TL fell for it almost every game except for the last one where they actually matched the lane invade. So I think, like, if you're playing this matchup 10 times and you're doing it 10 unique times where TL doesn't get to learn, they are going to get surprised by the Rumble GP thing, and they are going to go into like kind of the early mid game.
Coach of the split.
But wait, how do you get surprised by that? They literally did the same thing, and even the casters knew about it. It literally looked like TL was just
they didn't
slow or something. Like the casters are like, oh, and here it is, the 11-minute swap, and here they come back top. Like, all right, they're doing it, and then it just didn't fucking like they just fell for it every time. I don't know. I feel like TL just thought this would be easier than it was, and it felt like TL was playing to like hard shit on clutch instead of just playing the game normally. Like they did things that TL normally wouldn't do, like that. For example, the game 2 play, right, where Renekton's like flash stunning the mid laner, then you have Jarvan from the other side, like EQ flashing to just try to get in range of Damonte. Like that's such a weird. That's not a TL play. Like I can see like G2 losing games like that where they just go for ridiculously aggressive stuff, and then sometimes it doesn't work out, and like sometimes G2 can just drop games to bad teams because they just like fail the execution on these really risky plays. But TL normally doesn't go for those, so it's like that's what made it seem so weird to me. It's like you don't go. This is not your play. This is like let's just try to fuck it. Like you can tell that Jensen was just shitting on Damonte and Lane, was like, yo, let's fucking kill this guy. You know, like they just did so much weird shit that you don't see TL do. Like, what about the Jensen package in game 5?
Oh my god,
where he literally just packages straight down. Like these are not normal TL plays that they make.
I think it was just like an off series from TL.
I think it was an off season. Yeah, I think it was an off series from TL. I wouldn't like see this series and be like, oh shit, if they played the same exact series 10 times, Clutch is gonna win like 40% of them.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's an off series, but there's like definite strength in clutch where if you don't deal with it properly, I think when TL arrived up the bans that was GP, Rumble, Kiana, TL was going to win. I think if it just, but every time they play the series, I don't think they arrive at that band in like game 2 or maybe in game 3. But when they're not arriving at that band, Clutch actually has a shot at banning or beating TL.
So here's the question: do you think that Clutch, like, do you think that CLG will just like give Clutch whatever?
I think they have to be smart enough, right? They saw Rumble, Kiana, GP. Don't give them these 3, then CLG will beat them.
Yep.
Okay. You know,
if they give up those tools,
power picks.
If they give up those picks, then Clutch has a shot against CLG.
I actually worry about that mid lane matchup because Damonte will play Aurelia or Akali into PoE's champion pool, and I think if he's not playing like Victor or something, and he's playing something along the lines of Syndra, like he's going to be in pretty big trouble up against Damonte's champion pool.
Clutch and C9 play similarly, and
what's Damonte's champion pool? It's literally just Kiana, right?
It's Aurelia as well.
He plays the assassins.
He plays the assassins.
I don't feel like his assassins are. I feel like there's
his
a huge drop off.
Yeah, his Kiana.
I'd say there's a huge drop off between his Kiana and then like his Silas. I didn't really care for.
What about his Aurelia?
I thought his Aurelia was okay, like not great, right? Like he started lane versus Jensen. Jensen is playing Silas versus Aurelia, and the Silas starts down 2 corrupting potion charges, and then he still was like just getting shit on in lane. I don't think his Aurelia was that good. I mean, obviously, like they ended up winning, so you're gonna think it's okay. It's like manageable, it's serviceable, but I don't think I'm not like, oh shit. If Hootie's not doing well, can like Damonte carry the game with Aurelia? I would say no.
Really? Okay. I think for Clutch, I'm a little higher on like, you know, what Damonte is capable of doing right now, because I don't think we've seen like the full extent of when he puts his time into a champion like Kiana. Where's it going to take him? So I feel like this might be a big motivating split for him because he's been around. The guy has been around now for at least a little over a year, right? Because he played on Echo Fox for a bit, and so I want to ask the question now because it's one that I think has to be asked. Is he the best non-import NA mid now?
Well, Pobelter just took
it's like him or Pobelter.
Is he better than Pobelter? Yeah.
I mean, probably after the series you have to say that, but it's like just because he can play Kiana.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know.
Doran had a tweet about this. It's actually sad what the state of NA mid is like. Just because Demonte played Kiana well, like he's the best NA mid. Like, oh my god, I agree with you, Zyrene, that he is probably the best NA mid, but it's sad to talk about. Not that because Demonte is terrible, but it's just he was here and then he bumped up this much, and then that makes him the best.
So we all had Demonte bottom 3 mid laners in LCS when we did our tier list like 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
Do you guys still think that he's bottom 3?
Oh man, I would definitely redo certain parts. I would put Bjerg out of there. Bjerg.
You wouldn't put him number 1?
I wouldn't put him number 1. I wouldn't put him number 1.
Who would you put number 1 right now?
Niski or Jensen? I'm trying.
Yeah, but it's like, who do you put? Because it's like Niski. Yeah, I mean, I guess Jensen is more consistent, but like they both kind of like they don't seem like, you know, dominant mid laners. They don't look like a Caps, for example. You know,
I'm probably
nobody looks like a
mind.
fucking Caps.
Yeah. I'm gonna change my mind after finals, but right now probably Niski.
Really, because Niski, like the thing that I hate about Niski is he's like really good most of the time, but then he'll actually just lose you a game alone, and that's what I hate about. It's like he just tries to be like this galaxy brain 5-head where he's like, I have every pick in my pool possible. It's like, why are you playing Talia mid, bro? Like that doesn't even sound good. Like it doesn't look good. Like why is Talia mid suddenly back? Like I think 1 and 7 on stage. I don't know.
He's got super good roams though. That's like
Jensen
had strength right now.
Jensen had outrageous mistakes too, like the quirky package, like you talked about. But the problem is, like, Jensen plays for TL, and the rest of the team is so solid, where Niski plays for C9, where his mistakes matter a lot, because when they break down, because they play really fast, and rest of the team isn't as solid as TL. So I think, like, at least current performance-wise, Niski's better than Jensen.
Interesting.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think there's more upside. I don't know, like, it's hard to tell, because the way that the series started for Jensen, I was like, okay, this guy is like, he's actually putting the series on his back. That's how the first 3 games looked to me, right? Even the game that they lost with Akali, he was just really fucking good on the champion. So it's like, that's like, that was kind of what I saw in the beginning. And then it just seems like he just doesn't have that like clutch factor still. That's how, at least how I see Jensen. I feel like he'll like not hard carry when it really matters all the time.
He doesn't have the mega pop off. He needs a secondary person to like really help him. I can feel that. Like that's the gut feeling I get when I watch him, even though he has like stellar games, like those 3 Akali ones. But it's always like somebody else is doing really well alongside him.
What does he need to do to get rid of that moniker? Because the whole thing was that he wasn't able to win a championship. Goes to TL, wins the championship, goes to MSI. They get to the finals. He's a big portion of that. Like, what needs to happen to change the legacy around Jensen as a not a killer instinct player? We can call him a hard carry. We can call him the best mid, but he doesn't have the killer instinct.
He does have it. It's just he's fucking
there, you know?
No, he's just fucking troll as fuck. Because I feel like he doesn't care about regular season that much. Honestly, when I watch Jensen play and when he's on, versus like. So one thing that you have to give credit to Bjergsen for is Bjergsen is incredibly disciplined. He's the most disciplined player in all of North America, maybe even the West, in terms of like the lifestyle he maintains and the work he puts in, regardless of his situation. And that's where I think you can critique Jensen a little bit more. Like Jensen has shown higher highs than Bjergsen. Jensen has shown higher levels of talent.
Wait, has he? Has he?
Think so? Jensen,
I think that Bjergsen season 4, season 5 was like the highest level of talent that we've seen from a Western player up until Caps recently.
Yeah,
that's what I think. Like season 4, do you remember like season 4? He literally solo. Yeah, well, no, spring before you were there.
Bjergsen's the reason that we import.
He literally solo killed his lane. He solo killed every single other mid in the LCS. Like this was one of the most insane.
That was rest of NA being so fucking bad.
Okay, but it's always comparative to the competition.
I think there's
the rest of NA is bad compared to like right now.
Like he's legit the reason we have to import. Like 100%.
Yeah, he definitely is. But like when you think like all-time great Western performance, I think Perks carrying RNG, like Perks carrying who was the bot lane? Yarnan, the Heimer, Yarnan, and Wadid.
Yeah, it seems like
I don't even remember I don't even remember their names. I just think of them as Heimer and Tom Kench. Like he carried a Heimer and a Tom Kench one trick to World Semis. Like Caps' run in the Fnatic like that season like was fucking insane too. And this is with higher level of competition. Just going back to the original Bjergsen Jensen thing, I think kind of getting to the conclusion where I think Jensen might be more talented than Bjerg, but Bjerg's discipline is just off the chart.
So this is a question that I see circulating now.
I feel like it's just recency bias. Like people just remember what happened like right now. Like I don't know. If you look, because it's obviously compared. It's not like obviously people are always going to be better over time, right? So like I would say Caps right now is better than Faker was in season 5, right? Like everyone's just going to be better over time, but you have to compare it to like the competition at the time. Like compared to everyone else we had, I felt like Bjergsen was so far above all the other mids we had in NA in season 4, in season 5. And if you remember like season 5, it's not like I mean, you coached him at Worlds, right? You remember exactly. Like do you remember like how he was performing at Worlds? Like Santorin was literally like kind of running it down that whole tournament, and Bjergsen's like just beating all these world-class mids or people that are perceived to be world-class mids. So like how can you say like I don't know. Well, it's just because he lost the games.
No. Let's say this. If Jensen lived the exact lifestyle and was on the exact schedule that Bjergsen was on, who do you think would be better?
Well, that's just like
man. That's the discipline, though. That's the discipline. That's not talent. That's discipline. Yeah, I mean, I'm saying what makes Bjergsen is his discipline and the amount of work he puts in and like how well he takes care of himself and how well he schedules things out. Where Jensen like plays for the best team, probably has better coaching and better management at this point, so he doesn't have to put in as much effort, and he is getting like he is showing some incredible performances.
Okay. So I think there's a question. There's a question that I want to ask you guys because I've seen it around and it's made me kind of think a little bit. Is Bjergsen has always been like people are like number 1 mid. If he gets out of TSM, he's getting picked up 100% by any team. Do you think that if Bjergsen goes free agent, TL or Cloud9 make an offer for him and try to replace their mid?
Oh my God.
Do you think they would replace Jensen or Niski with Bjergsen if given the opportunity right now?
I don't know if C9 would. I feel like TL is more willing to do that type of shit.
Yeah.
C9 is very budget conscious as a team. They're incredibly budget conscious, and they put their investment into academy, never like absolute top tier, like for LCS, unless it's someone worth it. Like they made a bid for Caps. I think that was public, but it's fucking Caps. Where Bjerg's like they already have Niski like functioning, so I'm not sure if they would bid. For TL, I agree with Dom. I think Steve would definitely at least talk to Andy and see what the deal is. But Jensen over Bjergsen over Jensen.
I think
yeah,
C9
it's really hard to say.
I think C9 would because they haven't won a championship in forever, and to come again with a solid team and lose to TL, if they lost this finals coming up here in Detroit, it's like, what do we have left? What else can we do? Where can we get more from?
There's no. What if Caps would be an amazing upgrade? Where
you know what?
But Caps isn't the question. You said would they pick up Bjergsen, right?
I'm saying C9 made a bid for Caps. So what if it? I'm saying they would only make a bid when it's like a significant upgrade. There's definitely an argument for Bjergsen being better than Niski, but like how much better? And like it would be astronomical when they picked up Niski, right? Niski is like a European like mid tier, maybe like slight like bottom tier, top tier player. And they're getting a good deal for it. Like it's like almost both sides are doing each other a favor. Where Bjergsen hits free market, like kind of money that the teams would be bidding, and like what C9 is going to have to match to get Bjerg is going to be fucking crazy. Just
you know what I was thinking about? I was thinking about like what teams could potentially sign him. Like what good teams could potentially. I actually think he would fit pretty well with Fnatic. To be honest, I feel like that would be like such a good fit for him. Yeah,
why did you speak that into existence? Dom, you fucking did it. You put it out there. Why'd you do that?
Like I don't know. I just feel like
Fnatic
that's actually
and TSM fans in the same place on the same side.
The thing is like
why do you feel like feeble into existence?
I feel like Reckless and Bjergsen have always had this like
bromance,
good mutual respect for each other. Like they're both like, oh, like I assume that for a while Bjergsen was like, oh, you're the best AD carry in Europe, and Reckless has always thought that Bjergsen was the best mid that plays in NA. I just feel like that would be such a good fit for a player like Bjergsen. Like have just a bunch of good fucking confident teammates. I feel like they could actually be such an insane team with that.
Bjerg got to play with Double, and he probably realized Double's better than Reckless. And also, Reckless made it public on stream that he reached out to TSM. He wanted to be on TSM, and they went with Zven.
Yep.
So
the worst decision they've ever made, by the way, for the org.
No, there's a worse one.
Really? You don't think getting rid of double lift is the worst decision they've ever made?
No, they got rid of someone else. They got rid of someone else that was way more important.
Are you gonna say it or no? Oh wait, are you actually? I know you can't be talking about yourself.
I think.
Holy shit!
You can't be talking about yourself.
I had A+, dude. The way you delivered, holy shit!
I think more so than getting Sven, getting rid of double lift was the worst decision ever. It's not getting Sven was bad. It's getting rid of double lift was bad.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%.
I mean, I guess the thing for them is like how hard would they have been willing to like for like the double thing? How long do you give a player? Because obviously they viewed it as mainly a bot lane focused loss on 2016 and 2017 Worlds. Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, you just had like your bot lane play poorly in 2 different World Championships. Like, how long do you give them? Because that's why I feel like they went with the different changes. They're like, okay, well, shit, this didn't work out. Like we've had like, I think that at that point they just lost confidence that Doublelift would ever be able to perform in like World Championship like pressure.
This is like I hate it when somebody looks a gift horse in the mouth and you're just like, you're taking everything for granted, right? Like you're already winning domestic titles. And you're like, well, we're focused on like improving from there. And so it's like, well, we got to replace people on our roster who are winning us domestic titles, and you're risking just like falling down. And that's the risk they took, and it went the opposite direction for them over time. Like, I think it's absolutely just like, I hate it when people do that, when they get ahead of themselves and they don't realize why they're there in the first place, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that they'd be willing to like take this like trade-off? If they like at this point, if they knew because obviously going into it, they're like, okay, we might not win NA anymore, but like our goal is to try to win Worlds. Do you think that was like something that they stand by, or do you think that they just thought they were going to win domestically no matter what? So like,
I think that's what it is. It was so far-fetched that they wouldn't win domestically or at least make the finals, right? Like they had made every finals. Not making finals was like unrealistic.
Preposterous, yeah.
And that's where I think they kind of fucked up, and that's where I think Andy kind of fucked up. Is I think it's really good to have a goal like we're going to win Worlds. Like that is an amazing goal for an organization to have, and it's important you build towards it. I'm not sure how well thought out and how structured it was. You don't go from like not winning Worlds to winning Worlds. There's like step by step and like improvement and structure you put in place. And Andy always had that dream since like season 1. I want to win Worlds, and I don't think there were actual steps. Like they always won NA, and then they needed to do little bit baby steps after that, and they just took such a dramatic turn in getting rid of double, where it just put them so off course.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think that leads to.
Oh my God, we were talking about TL Clutch, and we somehow still.
Yeah. Well, I talked about like the mid lane, like because we talked about Jensen and not having that like clutch factor. Like, would you take Bjergsen over Jensen now? Because I think in the history of North America, everybody would be like, oh yeah, if Bjergsen gets freed up, everybody would make a fucking bid for him. It's like C9 would replace Jensen with him. It's like every team would do that. Even last split, people were like, oh yeah. But I think this is the split where people really kind of go, maybe Bjergsen.
Well, I mean, Bjergsen, like that's what people don't understand. Like up until like the last 4 weeks, Bjergsen was probably the best mid in the league. That's what the most rational like tier list or rating system for mid laners would have been. Like realistically.
Tell me more about this. Tell me more about this. No, I'm just kidding.
I also had Bjergsen number 1, so I can't hate on it. But I will say the 4 weeks after that was. One of the was
probably the worst period of his career, right? Yeah. But that's the only way that he's not number 1 anymore. Is like he has the 4 weeks that are the worst weeks of his career. Like in spring, he was definitely the best mid, right? Like if you watched the fucking spring finals, tell me that Bjergsen did not outperform Jensen as a whole over the course of the spring finals.
One thing you need to rethink when you talk about spring in general for TSM, and Parth also mentioned it. TSM overperformed, and a lot of the stars aligned for TSM. And one of the stars aligning was the meta being very solo lane focused and very flex pick, power pick focused. Mm-hmm. And TSM had good solo laners and good synergy with them. Like Bjergsen Akali performance versus C9 was like, if they don't have that, it's 3-0.
People are so fucking bad at it. Holy shit, people are just so dumb about the game. Holy fuck. I'm just like reading chat and I'm just seeing like all these comments and it's like, holy shit, none of these people like they're like, oh look, Jensen won game 5 on LeBlanc where he was like losing lane and they ended up just winning because of like a random pick on Sven. Like they're like, oh shit, like he popped off at the end once like Sven threw the game. That means he played well. It's like, wait, game 1, he picked Zoe, right? The counter pick was fucking Heimerdinger, right? And he dicked him. He dicked Jensen with Jensen getting the counter pick on his champion. The next game, Jensen gets Zoe, and then he plays Lux into Zoe, and then just fucks him again. Like they won 2 games, like straight off this guy just shitting on the other mid laner. And then like game 5 that was thrown by Sven, and then like in the last final fights, Jensen's finally like shows up. It's like, oh shit, he played better the whole series. Like it's such a ridiculous and like reason. It's the whole problem with the league community. I swear. Remember what bias is like insane.
I remember what we said. Twitch has only good for one thing. It's ideation.
Oh, it's so sad seeing that like intelligence is stupid though. Like
don't go there for intelligence, Dom. Then you become the stupid one if you go there for intelligence.
It's not even that.
If you go there for intelligence, you're the.
I'm like, I mean, I guess it's good. But it's like, damn, fuck it. People are just dumb as fuck. Like that's just the truth. Holy shit.
All right. Daniel, why don't you grab final thoughts from everyone about this series, and let's get to the next topic.
Yeah, like I think to close this one out, this leads us to tweet of the week, and you can put your final thoughts there. Good friend Julian Pastry Time Carr coming on in with the tweet of the week saying, I think this debate is really interesting, so I'd love to hear your thoughts. Biggest LCS upset of all time if Clutch Gaming would have beaten Team Liquid. Or we have the TSM, 6 seed TSM beating Immortals.
Lucian Top.
In Lucian Top. Or something else. Like, if Clutch would have won this, would have this been the biggest upset in LCS history?
No. I think the Immortals TSM one is more because that was a fucking record-breaking split. Record-setting split, actually, for Immortals, where they looked fucking untouchable. I think they only lost a single game to CLG. Is that yep. split? I think they might have been that was the 17-1 one. So I think that was the massive, like nobody thought that shit was ever going to happen.
I think I agree with like the Immortal TSM one. Like that's when TSM looked like shit. That was the Yellow Star year. That's where they barely squeaking to playoffs. Like they were 6 seed and Immortals was 17-1. Like Huni, Rainover could do no wrong. And it's not just that they had that 17-1. They were coming off from Fnatic, where they did incredibly well at Worlds, well at MSI. They won both splits. They did an 18-0. Like Rainover Huni was just absolute fucking god tier, and they did not know how to lose. So
what other big upsets were there? I think if that's probably the biggest, and the second biggest is probably Clutch beating TSM last year. I felt like that was so fucking
that was
random.
A big one. Yeah.
Like that was a 3 versus 6 seed, I'm pretty sure. It was 3 versus 6 seed, and then like Clutch looked like not very good. They looked pretty bad for like most of the season, and then suddenly they
Hako hooked him.
They just like picked Thresh in this one. Like it would have to be those two.
Yeah. Maybe it's not a huge upset. Maybe it's a little bit painful, but C9 beating Liquid that 1 year during the gauntlet, because Liquid looked really good. Like they beat TIP in the 3rd, 4th place match.
Hell no, we sucked.
I
like how you start with it might be a little painful.
Did people actually consider that an upset? I'm pretty sure like most people knew we sucked.
Was this
like
when was that?
We scrimmed versus TSM and
MSG.
CLG. Yeah. So before Tip, we scrimmed against TSM and CLG, and we won 0 games in an entire week scrimming against both of them the whole fucking day. We didn't win 1 game. Like we were so bad.
That's when like C9 didn't even make playoffs, and they barely like I forgot how they did it, but they squeezed.
They got high.
That was the reverse sweep.
Yeah.
The reverse sweeps. The 6-step plan to world domination.
Yep. Yeah.
So that was the year that TL was going to make Worlds. That's what we talked about. Like you guys finished first in regular season. Like Quas looked good. Phoenix
that was the
Pentakill. I guess it was because I was part of the team that it was just like the biggest miracle in the world that we got first. Like it made no sense that we got first. And the only reason I think we actually got first is I'm pretty sure CLG threw the tiebreaker on purpose to not play TSM. Like I was playing, so that was when Nidalee was like the most broken jungler in the game, and they gave me Nidalee first pick, and they picked Nautilus jungle into my Nidalee on stage, and like I don't know, I just like got like 12 kills, and it didn't feel like a real match. Like it didn't feel like a real match. Like when I was playing it, like normally getting 12 kills in LCS is like, god damn, I fucking popped off. Like that's how you feel.
Yeah.
Getting 12 kills in LCS, that game was like, this is a scrim. We're playing a scrim on stage.
Dude, I actually fucking love when pro players talk about games they play, because you fucking remember the moments in those games like years later. Years later.
I remember every game I played, but like I don't know.
There's some games
you care about them so much.
Yeah. As a player, remember, and also as a coach, remember. Holy fuck! I remember that double TP. I remember that feeling of smashing the keyboard and like literally how it felt like watching that.
Yeah.
Oh man.
All right, so
I fucking love it. It's great.
As you could tell, I voted. I thought this was because we just talk about how dominant this Team Liquid team is, and
this would have been the biggest
years
one
of it.
Sure.
Okay,
you think it would have been? Oh,
I think Immortal TSM. Immortal TSM.
Yeah, I think Immortal TSM.
It's bigger. It's bigger than this because like Immortal TSM, like
you had double lift on your team.
Yeah, but like Immortal, exactly. So TSM like was supposed to be way stronger than they were looking at that point. Like they came into playoffs. I think as like the 6th seed or something. But
yeah, they were.
So they're a 6th seed. They're a 6th seed, and they had like double lift, Yellow Star, like Hanser Beer. Like that was supposed to be like the fucking team, right? So like them doing bad was such a surprise. Whereas like Clutch should not be good at all. They should not. They should not be a top 4 team. They should not be a top 4 team right now, right? Like everyone thought that top 3 teams would be TSM, C9, and TL. This whole split up until like what happened recently, it was going to be those 3, and then CLG started performing well, and then that was the 4th one. And then it was like no one else was even talked about or close. People didn't even think Clutch was going to make playoffs, right? But like, I don't know. Like they're like, yeah, I don't know. I just feel like the TSM team before this Clutch was supposed to be so bad and they ended up overperforming, whereas TSM like was actually supposed to be a good team and they were just underperforming.
But also like on the rebirth, think of like what the reputation for that Immortals team was.
Yeah.
17-1, they haven't played a single playoff game yet. Like, so we're just looking at them as like,
and that was shit. That was shit that never happened in North America. Like,
well, this was
summer, it was like
right?
Everybody beats everybody. No, that was spring.
That was
right?
spring.
No, it was spring. It was spring.
That was spring. Yeah.
And then they went like 16-2 the next split or something.
Yes, they did.
I think
they
I
hadn't dropped a fucking game except to CLG, where I think it was Darshan Udyr or something like that. Or no, it was it was
Udyr, like Darren Skill, Darshan backdoor. Like it was a crazy ass game.
Yeah.
So, like that Immortals team was like, oh my god, look at this godly team. Like, dude, Noah and Dylan and everyone on that team, like their heads were the fucking sizes of the moon. Like their egos were so fucking big.
I still love that story of how it's like everybody used to scrim at like 1 p.m. and Immortals like, we're scrimming at 12, and everybody's like, we're scrimming at 12, we're scrimming at 12, like because they were the #1 team by far, and you wanted to scrim them. So you had to abide by their schedule.
I think it just goes with what Dom said, where the expectations for TSM and Clutch, TSM 2016 and Clutch now are just so starkly different, and then the firepower on it. If you just say the names on that roster, like what Dom just did, you expect that. We had our 9th to 10th best jungler be the jungler here for Clutch, and the jungler that we've left for dead, except Loco. I think Loco actually had Lyra a little bit higher. But again, who's going to carry that other than Huni? And so, yeah, your Korean life.
Yeah.
But so I think that's why I had it there. It just doesn't seem
going to that split,
that's it.
TSM, and Immortals were supposed to be the best 2 teams. Like people thought that CLG massively downgraded. It's like, oh shit, they have Stixay and Huhi now instead of Pobelter and Doublelift. Like this team is going to be much worse. And then it was like, okay, you have the Huni Reignover team. That team's going to be super good. And then the other team that people thought would be super good would be like TSM, because it was, them getting Doublelift. It was TSM getting Doublelift, and they were already the best team, or like one of the best teams. So yeah, I don't know. I just feel like TSM was uncharacteristically 6th that split. Like they were probably better than a 6th place team. But Clutch is like a legitimate team that like was considered like 4 or 5 weeks ago. This was considered one of the absolute worst teams.
Yeah,
in the league.
9th, 8th, 9th. But
yeah, like 9th or 10th. Like putting like before the split, when people were doing rankings of all the teams, like Clutch was either 9th or 10th. They got, I think, 9th, or they got 10th last split, or did they get 9th? They got one. They got either 9th or 10th last split. And this split, people thought the same. So like that would have been huge if they beat TL. I mean, TL is like 3-time championship winner compared to Immortals, which was like unproven, I guess.
Yeah. Wrap us up, Zyrene, so we can get out of here.
I think the Immortals thing had another layer on top of it, which was the Fnatic for Huni and Reignover coming over, like Loco had talked about. But also, people don't remember, but that series was a fucking 3-0. They wiped him out completely. Like it was the Lucian top was the first game. That was the first game though. That was the first game was the Lucian top. He's winning into Maokai, and then it was like, well, let's play Graves, let's play GP in the next 2 games, and they still just get shit on like 3-0. So that's why I thought that one was just so unprecedented because they hadn't even dropped a game until that point, let alone 2, and then they just dropped 3 back to back to back, and it's like they're swept out of making the finals.
Dude, we didn't get to touch on the theories that much, but what do you think about Sona Taric Game 5?
I feel like I thought that if you're going to have somebody try to carry the game, at least give your best fucking player in the entire league, Core JJ, some goddamn gold. So I think funneling him some gold on Taric makes it good. And plus NA doesn't really know how to play against that shit still. Like Sona's like not that great anymore, but like NA is just like.
I mean, they didn't have the only way you play against Sona Taric is the G2 way where you just pick aggressive shit and you just try to kill it. Like if you don't kill that shit, if you just let them farm evenly in lane and you get to mid game and it's just a Sona Taric with, just the standard like Seraphs, Abyssal, whatever, they just get into mid game and they're not behind at all, you just lose the game. And I don't feel like any NA team like is willing to take that risk. We're just gonna pick the shit that kills. Like we're gonna pick Elise instead of a tank here, and we're gonna try to actually just kill this Sona over and over again. People just don't do that here.
So that's one way to play.
Especially in a game 5.
One way to play against Sona Taric, like to kill them. Another way people have been doing is letting the Sona Taric like stay in lane and picking something that can 1v2 really well versus it and just out roaming and like really fucking punishing the solo lanes with it. Because Sona Taric, if they start roaming and they don't generate gold, it's actually really bad for them. So that's the other avenue they take. But I mean, Clutch really couldn't do that. And when they locked in Kench and they took Sona Taric, I was like, oh my fucking god, this is going to be bad. Because Kench is so vulnerable versus Sona Taric because you don't get to really punish. So the way you need to punish, it has to be like Kench Varus. They didn't even take that. And also, Vulcan was one of their best players. Like the way Vulcan played Braum. Lyra,
his engages.
Yeah. Lyra, one thing I noticed is actually kind of bad as a primary engager. His Sejuani was okay, but I noticed like he can't play primary engage that well. So that's kind of my theory on why he doesn't play Sejuani Jarvan, because he doesn't want to be the primary engage. And also Braum isn't like an amazing engage champion. You have to get really creative with how you use your W, flash, and ultimate. And Vulcan played it so well where he was functioning as primary engage whenever he was playing and that's why Clutch was
which is actually like a not very good champion to be primary engage on. Like Braum is a pretty hard engage champion to do because like you literally have to W to minion flash ult and then hope they don't flash. Like you don't actually have like that like Rakan like we're actually engaging right now. It's not as quick of an engage. So
if you look at his other pool, it's Alistar and Rakan. So he has definitely been the primary engage while Lyra took a step back. But when they stuck him on Tahm Kench in game 5, I was so fucking frustrated. I was like, really? You don't realize why you won? Like
I knew they lost the second I saw the draft, dude. Like that is, you're just never gonna beat TL in that type of way. Like you knew, like if you look at both team comps, right? It's like, okay, the Tristana top, the Karma, all that shit. It's you're just gonna 5v5 front to back against the Sona Taric and beat it. You're just gonna like the theory of that was the original theory of how you beat Sona Taric until people just like realized that it didn't work. Yeah, they're like, we're gonna outscale. We're gonna have the like that's the thing that we have over them. We've got the 80 carry. So when it gets late, this motherfucker's gonna have crit and he's gonna 2-shot that Sona Taric. Well, now you have 280 carries. This shit just doesn't work. You don't outscale that shit. Like, you just do not outscale.
Clutch Gaming, like props to you and your coaching staff. Like you did well, but like in game 5, I was just so frustrated. TL took away your tools and GP, Rumble, Kiana, and then you took away your own tools by putting Vulcan on Tahm Kench. Tristana Karma, like I do want to criticize it, but like they had success on it before. Like I didn't think that part was so outrageous. I just thought the Tahm Kench on Vulcan was so fucking outrageous, and that was like the one where I just could not understand why they arrived at that conclusion.
The Tahm Kench pick?
Yeah.
Well, the Tahm Kench pick, I think, was just to deny the Sona Tahm Kench. That's what I think it is. It's like because Sona Tahm Kench is like the more aggressive, like better version of Sona Taric, or like some people consider it the better version because it can keep the Sona safer, and like you still get the Sona later on, whatever. You keep the Sona safer, and then you have a better lane phase. So they just took it to deny the Sona Tahm, and then they just like
you deny, and you also deny yourself.
Yeah, exactly. That's why it's bad. But I think the reasoning has to be that they did not want TL to have Sona Tahm.
Dude, oh my god, I think TL should definitely make the finals, and I thought they were the better team. But the alternate universe where they lost on Tahm Kench or Sona Taric, to clutch in Game 5 would have been just too juicy.
Well, I think the clutch, players played better than the TL players this series. Like, I think that the clutch players played better. I just think that TL is just so much better of a team in general, just like their coordination, their synergy, like how they set things up, all that stuff, right? Like, just their mindset towards how they approach the game is just so much better than clutches. Their fundamentals are so much stronger that they just win. But I think the clutch players outperformed.
All right, let's wrap it up because we got a couple more juicy things to hit to. So all right, Zyrene, final thoughts. You didn't get to say anything there at the end.
Oh no, I started us off, but I just wanted to say one more thing. Is like Dom was talking about how that was a uncharacteristically bad performance for Core JJ. Yeah, I looked it up. That's the most deaths he's had in a single game all year when he had 7, and that ties one of his games versus G2. Yeah. So his top 3 games are that one, and then two of the G2 games. Yeah.
I mean, it's just like all the TL players like had times where they were just getting outperformed, and it just looked so weird to me. It's like, damn, like TL is way better than this. But this is why I think the TL is so much better than Clutch. This is what happens when Clutch is playing well and TL is playing bad. If they both play equally well, TL wins. If TL plays well and Clutch doesn't, they fucking hard win, right? So it's like, what does the series have to look like for Clutch to win? How does Clutch win a series against TL if they played this much better than TL and still lost? That's what I have to think. That's why I still think the TL is such like heavy favorites. Like, even if you play the series again, like I would put them at such a high percentage to win, because this is like how bad does TL have to play? Yeah, and how good does fucking Clutch have to play to win?
All right. Let's take a look at just a couple of quick news things here. Echo Fox, just a quick update on them. They are being sold by Riot Games. No update on that front. However, tweets coming out from their academy rosters. Their whole academy roster has been let go. That did not include Solo. Solo's still on. However, Lorlo has tweeted out he's gone. Lost, the import from Australia, Osh, has been released. Yasui, who received some first place votes in the mid lane, has been released. And then I think there's one more. I think Panda also tweeted out that he had been released as well. So changes over at Echo Fox. No matter what the management's going to be, it's going to be without that academy roster. The other quick hit I wanted to touch on real quick was Saligo Watch. We didn't do it last time. Checking in with our boy, the should have been rookie of the split. Here, you can see him first in the jersey on the left, not the big guy, but next to him.
That's Fragus.
That's Detective Fragus there, who is is it really? That's Fragus? Yeah, it is Fragus.
Yeah, that's Fragus.
Yeah, it's Fragus.
Fragus there, along with the rest of the 100 Thieves Academy roster with the with Someday. Winning the trophy. They went 3-1 against Golden Guardians Academy. So Saligo completing his arc and getting himself a championship. Any quick thoughts, Loco? I see the big grin.
I didn't get to watch the games, but it's just so ironically funny that Saligo won Academy World.
I mean, if you watch those games, I watch most of those games, and like I was just impressed by how good 100 Thieves like bot lane and top lane are. Like it's like Saligo's like he's like okay. I think he's like an okay.
Well, he can never get credit. He can win Academy.
Well, no, I mean, it just depends on the fashion that he wins it in. Like I wasn't watching. Like, didn't he give first blood in the first game? I think I was there in the first game, and he just like gave first blood. Like
I actually didn't watch the game, so I have no idea.
Okay, so he's just losing, and then they're just winning everywhere else. Like I don't know. I just don't. Yeah, I was just surprised that like Stunt doesn't have a team right now.
Year is 2025. Saligo wins Worlds. Dom, I don't know, man. He had.
I mean, I just feel like I'll know when he's playing well. Like, I don't know. I trust myself to be able to analyze a player when I'm watching them, and he just doesn't look good to me.
Dude,
he just
Saligo could win.
Like, Palafox looked better.
Yeah,
like Palafox looked better.
Saligo could have won Worlds with Mike Young, and Dom would be like, "Damn, Mike Young really fucking improved." That's how it be.
Yeah, maybe. I'd be like, "Shit, dude, Rush should have taken his job back."
Oh no. Oh crap. Okay, I don't have this last image ready. But we'll just use the Facecheck image. So anyway, just checking in here with Saligo because we didn't have the opportunity to do Saligo Watch beforehand. Any thoughts there, Zyrene, on his overall story arc and getting himself?
Wow, what a redemption, dude! It's like the anime protagonist.
Damn, dude. Holy shit! I can't believe that he was able to carry such a dog shit player like Someday to the Academy World Championship.
It's incredible. Dude.
I don't know how he fucking won with Someday on his team. Like that guy fucking blows, right?
All right.
Anyway,
he wasn't good enough for LCS.
Proving them all wrong here.
True, definitely. Fakeon's just a superior player. He's the rookie of the split for a reason.
I just don't think that it matters too much to win Academy, because I think the player skill difference is very big in certain lanes, just across the board, like almost every season. Like when Cloud9's Academy is just winning it, it's like you guys are actually just smurfing. Like you guys are playing LCS. You're clearly better players, but I don't think like being better players is I don't want to say it's like. So like when casting Academy, it was always, or I guess, what is it? Yeah, it's Academy. It was always hard to get people to care about less than professional play. So what you're doing is you're saying these are the best of the second tier, which doesn't make them top tier. So like, don't pretend they're top tier, right? Don't pretend that they're like LCS players, but you have to get them excited about, these players relative to the rest of the skill in the pool. It's like when you cast NA, right? It's like, this isn't Korea, this isn't EU. Like you have to appreciate it for what it is in that own like skill bubble. So yes, there are some people who go from the fucking huge bubble to the smaller one and they're like, oh, we're fucking gods here. And sometimes you're shit in the LCS, and then you go to Academy and look at how great you are. Holy shit, it's like your competition is worse. Wow. Somehow makes you better. Yeah, I really think that it's so hard to even just tell who's good. Having cast Academy and Challenger for so long, like I think the only players that came across Challenger where I was really like, that's a really fucking good player, was like, it was like LMQ and fucking
Dardoch.
And Dardoch. Yes, it was Dardoch. Acadian, even then I was kind of like, I was like, he feels like Dardoch light. I was like, he feels like Dardoch light. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
wait. I played that. I played that split. I played one Academy match. That split before I retired. I had to play before we were finally sub.
Wow.
I got to play versus Schernfire.
Oh boy.
In
the
NACS.
God, the Malaysian god, Schernfire.
Yep.
All right. Well,
let's get to the meat and potatoes of the show.
Juicy stuff. I just wanted to say, Saligo, it's been great. Fantastic split. Congratulations. We're looking forward to you next split. All right.
Sure.
Let's switch on over. Drama time. It's not even drama time. It's just more of like, this is how Facecheck became a reputable source of information. It's been all four of us having and checking in with what's been going down with the TSM stuff. So I think first things first, to kind of classify how we felt, or at least how I felt and how I saw the show going. We are pro Acadian. We're on side of Acadian. I didn't like the way that TSM didn't say anything.
Don't
put
speak
in
for
a
all
rookie.
of us, not me.
Okay, we didn't. TSM didn't put in a rookie. Didn't really give a statement until after things went sideways, and then leaves all this speculation to the point where they get upset that we're speculating. But we're only speculating because there was no statement from the official organization, and they do something that is pretty weird, throwing in a rookie that hadn't really played all that much, hadn't seen all that much, with two veteran junglers on your roster that they had played with and had success with, until, we come up with something, and then we get some feedback from Acadian himself, we get some feedback from TSM, and that's where we are now. So the only reason why we had to do that was because nothing was put out in the first place. Since then, we've had some conversations. Loco, Dom, Zyrene, who wants to go first here?
Well, I'll just say that I spoke to Parth before he made his statement. He called me because I've known Parth for years, and he pretty much gave me pretty much what he said in the statement. He gave me a little bit other stuff, but I'm not going to share that for obvious reasons. And I don't know. I just feel like all these types of situations, right? I hear Parth out. I'm sure that there's some truth in what he's saying, but I just don't think that a bunch of random people within a team just make up a situation like that. I can't imagine people within TSM being like, yeah, there's a problem with Sven and Acadia, and then three different people from different places end up saying the same thing at the same time. There clearly was some issue, and it's probably somewhere in between both sides, right? They're probably not flaming Acadian literally every fucking game, but they're probably flaming him enough that he doesn't feel good, and there is an issue within the team. And the other part was he probably was not playing well as well. Like we saw from LCS, he wasn't playing well as well. And those two things combined led to the reason that it was like this. I don't think that if everything was exactly as Parth said it, he would not be on the sub roster, right? Like there has to be some issues between TSM and Acadian for him to not even be on the sub roster, especially considering the fact that like when you talk about the situation, like even when they're bringing up the situation from Parth's perspective, it's like, he was wasn't the best player. He was kind of into it. It's like, okay, so why couldn't you have him as a sub? Don't even answer that. They just completely avoided it, right? So like, if you're going to completely avoid that piece, that is the most crucial piece of information that needs like some context so that the story makes sense. Like that's the one thing that TSM needs to clarify. Is like, okay, if it was purely performance, why is he at least not on the sub roster? And he's not, the fact that he's not there means that there is an actual issue. Like the only thing that makes sense is that there was a team issue and he wasn't playing well. It has to be both.
Dude, one thing I want to say to TSM fans is, if you're going to take the Parth's word as gospel, if you're going to take Team Solo Mid, anything they say as gospel, like you took Acadian's words as gospel, you took Parth's word as gospel. If you're just going to believe 100% what they say and there's no logicking with you and you can't critically think for yourself, then just be that person and just buy whatever the fuck they're selling you. But look at all the information. Look at all the information that was available and look at all the information like that people have put out there. Don't you see a hole in like the story? Don't you see a flaw in what they're saying? If not, then feel free to believe it. Feel free to believe it as if me and Dom are liars. Like we don't have information. Like we haven't been in the pro scene, like combined what, like 20 years, like and have friendships and have relationships. Like if you genuinely believe that, then believe it. But anyone that has a slight sense of doubt, like look at all the information and come to your own conclusion. Like just don't take what people say as gospel, because Parth has his own agenda. Like TSM have their own agenda regarding like protecting their brand. And
they threw him under the bus. Like they just essentially were like, yeah, he was that shit. That is what their statement essentially was. It's like, yeah, nothing about Sven and Acadian. There's nothing like that. He was just actually that shit. Because like obviously, like I don't expect him to stay with TSM. Like he is done after this. He is cut. Like he's gonna go to a different team or he's not gonna play. That's how I see it. So it's like they're gonna obviously try to protect what's in their best interest if it comes out that there's like drama. But like it's not me and Local that have heard this. What about Veteran? I don't know Veteran. Oh, Veteran said this whole thing where he's like, where he brings up her. Now I know this story allegedly. I am not going to share this part. Okay. This her story, and I don't think you are either, right? But
I'm not.
We both like me and Local both know about this shit too. It's like there's so much depth to this shit. Like let's fucking be honest. Some shit went down. Anyone with any like amount of common sense can tell that there was some internal shit that went down. Like people don't just fucking make up all this shit for no reason. Like no, I'm not coming to you guys.
We all separately met, had a meeting. You know what? We're gonna cause drama about TSM. We're gonna make up rumors all together, all of us, everyone but TSM. Are you guys all in? Are you guys all in? And everyone said they were all in, and then we just started to make stuff up together, all at the same time. We collaborated.
It doesn't make sense. Like when the first time that I talked about this to Loco, it's like I heard this. It's like I heard this too. And it's like okay, well, I mean, even this whole thing, like I didn't even know who people were thinking that Albert Cohen was my main source. Fuck no, he's not my main source. When I broke the story, neither of us. When we broke the story, I didn't even know who Albert Cohen was when I broke the story. I never even talked to him.
Reached out to us after we talked.
Yeah, and he's like, by the way,
yeah.
And TSM shit on him. They threw him under the bus too. They're like, yeah, well, this fucking shit. Well, regardless of what you think about Albert Cohen, right? Regardless of what TSM told you about Albert Cohen, the fact of the matter is that he did work for TSM in spring, and he was live there with the team for multiple weeks. So he did get exposure to the team. It's not like he's just some random data analyst that was like on the other side of the fucking world and like he just like overheard some bullshit. Like he was there, and that's what he said happened. So it's like all these different things. Like I've heard so many different things. It's just there is some truth in there for sure.
Okay, so I don't want to touch on the her part, but I'll say this. This is the tweet that Veteran made, and this one actually fucking pissed me off. Like, Parth's post is the absolute height of professionalism. I'm really glad that the org decided to step in and recharacterize the Acadian situation in this regard, as the amount of BS I had to hear was getting fucking disgusting. Particularly because the people spewing it knew better. Are you fucking serious, Veteran? You fucking added onto this bullshit? You're the one that said it was because of her. Like all.
Yeah, you're the one that brought up.
Are you fucking serious? Particularly because the people spewing it should know better. Like, are you fucking stupid? You started bringing girl drama into this, and you're like, ask the amount of BS I had to share.
I didn't even say, like, at no point.
Fucking stupid.
At no point did I mention the girl drama when I broke this story. All I said was there was problems between Sven and Acadian regarding gameplay. I did not bring any fucking girls into this bullshit. So like that type of stuff that I heard, like that was like too it was too like hearsay for me to like really commit to like I believe this happened. But the Sven and Acadian problems from scrims, like the way that I was told it by the people that I was told it from, I 100% trust them. They would not fucking lie to me. The people within TSM that told me that would not lie to me. And this is the other thing that people have to consider. They're like, why would you break the story? It's none of your business. The people that break the story to me, they want the information out there because they don't want to look like fucking morons in front of the whole community. If without any context, they look like fucking idiots, right? It's just like, holy shit, we just benched our starting, we named somebody the starting jungler, benched him 2 weeks later for a completely unproven player, and then lost to Clutch, who we were supposed to beat. Like, it looks fucking like retarded, right? So they're telling me to get the information out because within the org, there are people that don't like the silence. They don't like it just being like, oh shit, maybe the whole team is like employed, like all the randomness, all the theories that they see on Reddit. They go to the TSM Reddit, they see a fucking random theory. They go on the fucking other, the main Reddit. It's like, was Acadian that hard? Who the fuck knows? I think I saw somebody that looks like him. They see all this bullshit and they're like, they want a little bit of the truth to actually get out. That's why they're like telling me, like, there's a difference between when somebody tells you something in confidence and is like, don't repeat it. And when somebody tells you something like, yo, they know who the fuck I am. They know what my show is. They know, like, if they tell me things in certain ways with certain like attitudes towards it, they want the information out. They know how to differentiate that from a like, hey bro, don't tell anyone. Like I fucking kept the quad secret for 4 fucking years when that would have directly benefited me to like explain the trajectory of my career. It's like, why did you retire? Oh, one of my teammates went fucking crazy and like ended up in the fucking like hospital, like almost like jail and shit. Like it was fucking like that was an insane story. I didn't break that shit. And that would have made so much more sense to why I retired. Like I didn't fucking break that shit. People make it seem like, oh yeah, I'm out here just leaking shit all day. Like what the fuck else did I leak? This is some shit that actually like has merit. Guaranteed this story has merit. This Sven Acadian drama has merit 100%.
I mean, if it doesn't, then what world are you living in? Like, how do you come to that conclusion? Like, how do so many people say the same things? Like, just everyone has their own agenda. Don't take one person's word for gospel. Like, that when Parse and Acadia make tweets, make statements, like someone from TSM will probably make more statements afterwards. Like, what does TSM want out of making a statement? Protect their brand, protect the players they're going to keep. Like,
well, exactly. And like, if you look at the situation, you like any type of situation like this, you have to understand that both sides are going to say something and the truth always lies somewhere in the middle. Normally, both sides are going to omit facts that are going to like give the other side power, right? So TSM is not going to be like, yeah, there was a decent amount of drama, but it was still like kind of play because that muddies the water. They're going to be like, oh, it's just because Acadian sucks. And then the other side is going to be like, oh, it's just because they were like arguing all the time. It's probably in the middle somewhere where Acadian was playing bad and he just like wasn't like, yeah.
So the question is like, what does Acadian get from all this, right? Because TSM is protecting their brand. Why is Acadian going along and tweeting along with this and saying like, hey, whatever? What is the whole point from that front? If you guys can,
because Acadian doesn't want you to go deeper down that side. Like, you know, a veteran let in the whole her thing. They don't want to go down to what the real fucking like. They don't want to go down that whole trail. It's like, you know what? It's over. Just deal with it. Like they don't. There's other things. There's other like Part told me other things that like I shouldn't share, as well. Like he gave me some context from his end where it's like both sides are guilty in some respect, right? And they don't want to like deep down like have the real truth come out because I think that looks even worse than this. Like the real truth looks worse than the like, oh, I just played bad.
Right. And from a at least from me and how I would like the show to be. I'm down if it's like gameplay, if it's technical, if it's team type drama. But when it gets into personal type stuff like that level of stuff, I'm more fine with keeping it. Hey, there was internal personal problems, and that's it. Like airing other people's like personal laundry when they didn't sign up for that as a professional player. I think that's very different. The way you act as a professional, the way that you play, the way that you work in a team environment, all that's important. And, you know, that's fair play. But when it gets to, like, personal stuff, I'm not a huge fan of that, and I think that's why I'm not a huge fan of the veteran thing. Go ahead, Loco.
What was I gonna say? And Zyron, you can have your take first. I'll add on to it.
You're muted, Aiden.
I personally just like don't want to talk about it because I'm not as informed as you guys, and I don't want to like. I can only give my opinion on the way things have been presented, and like Dom is saying, I think honestly that there is merit to both sides, and if somebody is expressing something to you, expressing their opinion, their perspective is their reality. And I think that's very important for people to understand is the perception of people having conflict creates conflict and is conflict. It's just like, this is why like people shouldn't date in the workplace kind of thing, right? Is the perception of bias the perception of bias is just as powerful as true bias itself. Because if you date like the boss and then you get like, you're doing really well, and then all of a sudden it's like you get promoted, everybody is going to hate you, even if your work is completely valid and you should be promoted and there's no bias at all. The perception of bias is going to make everybody else kind of resent you. They're going to work less because they're going to go, oh, well, it doesn't matter because I'm not in with the boss. So the perception of bias is just as powerful as true bias itself. And I think that's another issue here is the perspective that you have been fed is somebody's real life perspective and interpretation and their reality of the situation. So even if they think, even if like, let's just say Acadian and Sven are just like, there's literally nothing there, the perception that there was something there affected somebody in a way, in a manner that made it so they wanted to tell you about it. So that makes it valid from their viewpoint. So no matter what, there is merit and truth to it.
Yeah.
Did you remember what you wanted to say, Loco?
What is it? Another thing that really bothered me was how TSM fans like yelled and like were tweeting at Azael about Azael leaked the roster.
No.
Are you guys fucking stupid? Like genuinely, are you fucking stupid?
Welcome to being a caster, dude. You just get blamed for everything. Especially TSM's Fnatic fans. Those two.
Like they're like, Azael is a C9 fan. That's why he leaked this. I'm like, are you fucking stupid? The information becomes public. When you send it into Riot tells you at this point in time, the information will be public. And it is up to you as a team to inform your players before it's fucking public. Like that's Parth fucked up. Parth admits that he fucked up.
Yeah, he said he fucked up.
Like, how the fuck are you blaming Azael for this shit? Like, oh my god. Like, I really have been. I'll admit, I drank the TSM Kool-Aid. Like, I really did drink the TSM Kool-Aid, and I always felt like, oh, TSM fans aren't that bad. But from the other perspective, like how they're like treating some of the casters and some of the personalities, I'm like, holy fucking shit.
Well, I mean, it's just weird because I mean, I made the tweet that you guys you responded to, Loco, where I'm like, the TSM fans demanded answers, right? And they got answers, and then they're like upset at the fact that they got answers. They're like, well, that wasn't the answer that I fucking wanted. Too fucking bad, dude. This is what the fuck happened. Like, there's definitely like. We didn't fucking lie. Like, I'm not gonna fucking put my reputation on a fucking lie. How retarded would that be? There's no like people are like, oh, Dom's just lying for clout. What the fuck? I'm gonna lie on my Facecheck podcast for like this is the place where I'm just gonna start hunting clout. I'm like, god damn, dude, the viewership wasn't enough. I'm sure that I'm gonna get a lot of fucking viewers.
So Dom gets 8K viewers, 5K viewers on his own stream, and then Facecheck is streamed on my own channel. And then we get
what? This is where I'm chasing clout, bro.
This is where you're gonna fucking lie. Where Dom has a fraction of your viewership. Dom is stupid, but not that stupid.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, come on, man. Like, give me some credit here, please.
Azael didn't leak shit. Just to answer people's thing in chat. Like, he didn't leak shit. He was just announcing something that had already been posted. So he's just the first person to talk about it, but it was already public information.
Yeah, I don't know, man. It's just crazy because like. People don't like. How can it not be obvious that teams don't ever want to make internal problems seem as bad as they are? Like, do you guys remember like season 5 when I was playing on a team with Piglet and then Piglet ended up bench for 2 weeks and then it's like, nah, things are fine. Like, yeah, we're just like working some things out on the team. What the fuck you think happened, dude? Me and Piglet could not play together. It was literally us sitting down and it was like, I am not playing with him. Either I play or he plays. That is the situation. Okay, we're gonna try me playing first, right?
Yep.
Kick him out. I play with Keith, right? And then if that went poorly, then he's playing with a different jungler. Like, what the fuck do people think happens? Like it got to the point where like I was literally leaving. Like we were literally scrimming, and like Piglet and I would get to the point where the scrim would be useless. We'd cancel scrims and just try to like talk about the problem. Like it's just so ridiculous that
Andy said
that people can't see between the bullshit. Like they can't like you don't know what happened. Like come on.
Do you remember when Bjergsen joining TSM got leaked and Andy came out and said Bjergsen isn't joining TSM?
Yeah.
And then Bjergsen joined TSM and TSM fans are like, wait, there's no way. Andy, you said Bjergsen isn't joining TSM.
Do you remember? Same thing with Sven and reaching out to
and Tarzan leaked it and he's like, yo, like here's the word on the street is that Sven and Mithy are joining. And then like TSM's like, what? Sven and Mithy? We haven't even talked to that. And then it happens and they're like, well, that was just blind luck.
Yeah.
And also like the double thing, double lift, like found out over Reddit. Like, guys, like fucking just use your brain and go back in history. Like, I don't know like what the average age is. Maybe I was just stupid when I was 14 and 15 also, but just fucking think for yourself for a second.
Yeah. No, people don't all make up the same lie at the same time. Like that just like that would be some really crazy shit. Imagine if like all of our sources and Albert Cohen, they all got together. They're like, "Yo, what happens if we just make up some bullshit about Acadian and Sven having problems?" Like, no.
Why would I agree to that? Why would I agree to shitting on TSM for no reason? Like,
it doesn't make any sense. It's so fucking crazy. It's so crazy, especially because it's like there's no interest. Like there's no good that comes out of that for like the other people that are part of the org. I don't know. I don't know. It's
Aiden, you had something there?
The truth is somewhere in between, boys.
There's a TSM problem, but there's also a community problem. That's what I learned. There was a drama within TSM, but also there's fucking like problems regarding how community perceives information and what they want to believe in so badly.
Yeah. You know what's crazy? This is like, you know when somebody gets fired and they put out like the tweets where they're like, wow, it was a great like 5 years, but I'm just moving on to bigger and better things. And like, and everyone's like, oh, wow, this guy, I wonder why he moved. Like people don't even realize that these people get fired. I realize like anytime I see one of those tweets, I just know it's like, oh, you got canned. Like 100% you got canned with your org. Like that's exactly what it always is. But then people just actually they're like, oh wow, this guy's moving on. Like it's just stated positively, and the community just believes that shit. Like I don't know, it's so fucking crazy.
Like I think I talked about this in our chat, and the fact was like when it doesn't benefit anybody, like yourself or your future employers or your previous employer to air your dirty laundry because it's just like you're like nobody's perfect. Maybe both sides have like fucking big faults, and nobody wants to be the one that goes. That starts it because like what if Acadian had like thrown TSM under the bus? TSM's like, well, look at this dump truck we have on you. Boom. Like
it's great. Like that's what both parties should do. But like the people like also knowing and be like, oh, like some shit happened and it didn't work out between them, right? Like you have to know that like everything doesn't like what the fuck type of la la land do you live in where everyone just ends everything on happy terms? It's like what the fuck, man? Like.
Well, yeah, I also think that in Acadian's case, and most of the time the smaller guy's case, you're still vying for a job in the future. And so whatever small dent you're going to make into an org or your previous employer won't outweigh the fact that you might ostracize yourself from being a high-risk target, high-risk hire for the future.
Yeah. So, for example, like if Acadian goes, look at all this shit TSM did.
And this is why I'm stunted.
Yeah, and future employers will go, so if we hire Acadian and something doesn't go right, is it just going to end up there on Twitter and in the public? Like, that's a fucking, like, risk to our reputation. Like, 100 Thieves would be like, bro, I don't know about this one, right? Like, I don't know. So it's in everybody's best interest, the organization, the player, it just goes for employment in general, to, like, you know, just let bygones be bygones unless there's, like, something that is, like, really fucking egregious. And you need to like take them to court for it. So
I just think I think that the crucial point for me is like Acadian is somebody who like I've been friends with Acadian for a while. Like he's somebody who Well, I don't even know. I haven't talked to him. I don't know if he like
at LCS yesterday.
I don't know if he just fucking hates me or some shit now. Like I haven't seen I don't know what his real perception is, right, of me at this point. But he's somebody who I've like hung out with like multiple times, like you know when I was eating like all that type of shit, right? So like I legitimately believe that this is the best thing to come out to like let Acadian's career not get completely destroyed. I feel like if we just let that shit ride the way that TSM like would have wanted it to ride, where it's just like, yeah, Acadian's just that bad. I feel like that's a career killer. But at least if like the waters are like muddy and like some of the actual truth does come out, people understand that, hey, if you thought Acadian was a decent player, right? Like if you saw like his performance, like his skill still has merit. He is not that shit.
Yeah, well, like I think that is something between him and his future employers or teams. And when he gets offers, like it happens all the time where like people end up getting like fired for something, and then they're like not going to talk about it or anything like that. And then what happens is their next employer asks them like what happened, and that's where you start talking about it. Is in those meetings. Is you're like, oh, this is what happened. You don't fucking like air that shit out in like in the open. Like that's like not a good move for you. It's not a good move for like the organization, which has like more power than you, and it's not a good look for you in general. It makes you kind of not look like a team player. And if things don't go your way, then you're gonna like complain. Because like if I'm a Cadian, like I'll put myself in his shoes. I'm gonna go like, okay, this shit happened. Let's fucking get over it. I'm just gonna move on to my next org, and I want to play some goddamn League of Legends again, right? If people people think I got benched for play, if somebody approaches me with an offer, I'm gonna tell them behind closed doors what happened and that it wasn't play based, right?
Yeah, no, I guess the problem there that I see is like
being public property and like having people have public like opinions. A lot of people on you, like is something you can care about, but
people always say like, oh shit, what happens if like if he's really that good, he's gonna get the tryout, and then if he performs in a tryout, then he'll like get the spot on the team or whatever. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't actually work like that in esports. I feel like the perception of a player going into the tryout.
When do people try out? When do people try out? Like after Worlds, people are on fucking vacation. There's no tryouts. You talk to players.
Even when you do try out, right? Like when Licorice tried out for C9, right? When he talks about trying out for C9, where he just like played a couple scrims to make sure he doesn't suck. That's really all it is they just like play a couple like everyone's fucking out of practice. No one knows what the fuck is going on. The meta's all weird. It's like one of those preseason patches where stupid stuff is like ridiculously broken.
Contracts are play a couple games. Done. People have already talked. The buyouts have already been fucking talked about.
You're not gonna get the fucking like tryout if people don't already think you're pretty good.
But based off his play in summer, I would say he would still get tryouts. Like TSM didn't throw him under a bus and be like, he's worse than Spica. We're not going to use him. It was kind of like, oh, Spica's playing well. Like they decided to focus on that, and it's like Spica's gelling with the team and all of that. So I feel like they didn't really throw him completely under a bus. So I didn't feel like he has to flail in any way, and I don't think he had to feel. He felt like he had to do.
And
that
I think that's where we disagree. That's the whole reason why we started digging at the TSM thing in the first place, because Spica to Acadian, that is too big of a jump to just trust that, oh, this kid is gelling. Spica, great kid. He's been around in the league for like 2 years.
So
that's too big of a jump with no description.
One thing that wasn't addressed properly in the statement, and that gets dodged, that I really want to talk about, is why Acadian isn't on the playoff roster. Why if he isn't on the playoff roster? It's like we wanted to fully commit to Spica. Like, really? Like, TSM's already, you're just going to buy that?
After committing to Acadian?
I'm going to tell you right now, from a public, like a PR perspective, answer me the question, are they not fully committing to Spica? That is not untrue. I mean, like fucking lawyered here for a second. Like, it's not untrue that they are fully committing to Spica.
It's just so retarded when you look at it. So it's like, oh, so you were the team that was so indecisive about your jungler that you like spent 6 or 7 weeks just trying out both of them over and over again, right? And Rift Rivals and all this shit. Like, this is how you normally treat these problems. Like, they want to have as many options as possible, right? This is the team that ran the longest like 6-man roster that we had this split. Okay, great. That's your mentality towards it. And now you're just never mind. Hard commit on this fucking random fuck. Who the fuck is this guy? I don't fucking know. Like he just came from solo queue. Like what? Like that's crazy. That makes no sense.
I'm gonna read you the sentence. I chose not to use Acadian as a sub for playoff because we were fully committed to giving Spica as much practice and stage time as possible. What about dude? If you're jumping off an airplane, you can give me the best fucking parachute in the world. I'd feel a little bit safer if there was another parachute behind it, just in case this parachute doesn't work. Why do I need, I don't need 2 additional water bottles. That's what treats and tactical are. They're water bottles. They're giving me water bottles. Give me a second parachute.
All right, this is what I heard, right?
I agree with that, but
this is the one part I feel like that Pard told me that I could share, is that his mentality was he felt bad because he fucked over treats and tacticals, right? Or tactical and treats. He feels bad because he fucked them over. He benched their fucking top laner for attitude issues, and then stole their fucking jungler, and then made them play with the jungler playing top lane, and ruined that fucking team, right? So he told me that he essentially, obviously the main team's the priority. They sacrificed TSM Academy to give TSM main team a better chance of winning. So he felt like he needed to at least bring Tactical and Treats with them to get that experience. But potentially, if they make it to like, if they made it to Detroit, whatever, just like having them come with the team, like at least he's like giving them a benefit.
They can go with the team not even as non-subs. They can go with the team even as non-subs.
So that's one thing, and the other thing is like, I can't imagine caring like. I don't know. It just doesn't seem like that would be like something where you'd care that much about the feelings of your academy players when you've like done all this type of shit. That it's like, yeah, I didn't like, yeah, now I care about their feelings more than giving our main team the highest chance of win. Like, do you think like
that never comes first?
Like Tactical and Treats, like, yeah, that never comes first anyway because it's just a business at the end of the day. But like, if you're never gonna play Tactical and Treats anyway, like, how the fuck are you gonna like say that having a Katie in there as a sub is not going to give you at least a better chance just in case the shit hits the fan?
Well, yeah, all these things are like opposed to each other, right? And they're all pushing for space, and it's which one matters the most and which one's like the most, I would say like practical for them to do. Of course they want the best chance of winning, but they don't feel like the best chance of winning is having this person on the roster that potentially might have had a volatile situation or whatever happened. And they're just kind of saying he is not an option for us anymore. And that's what like reading between the lines you're going to get is he's not somebody that they want to use. They would use him if they wanted to use him. So he's not somebody they want to use. Whatever reason that is, it's obviously not play.
And the reason that they want,
then it's a personal thing.
Yeah, well, that's the reason they want you to believe is that he is just actually that fucking bad. Like, he is so bad that he can't even, like, there's no world where you
do they want you to believe that?
Spica is bombing. I think so.
Do they want you to believe that? I don't think they want you to believe that.
What else could you want? What else could they want me to believe with that statement?
I think what they want to do is they want to just, because what are they supposed to say instead? They're supposed to say, oh, he was good, but there was other things that were, like, at play here. Because then that's going to make people look more into, like, the personal side of things. And I think professionally, you don't want people to do that or, like, become that type of organization that's going to, like, you know, because players in the future are going to be like, whoa, is TSM going to like leave me out to dry? Like, what the fuck's going to happen here?
Bro, all I know is like, let's be real. Like, this is fucking esports. Like, people in your org are talking like, how the fuck does Veteran know about the girl situation? How the fuck does Veteran know about that shit? I just found out about that shit and I'm here. Like, I'm like with these people. Like, how the fuck does Veteran know? He's in Europe. He doesn't even like, he doesn't do anything in relation with this league. Like, what the fuck? Like, that's like, people are fucking talking, which is why I think that Parth didn't completely discredit what I said. Like, he's like, oh, well, maybe something was exaggerated to Dom, but I don't believe Dom lied. Like, he's trying to not, because it's like, the more that we go down this path, like, someone's going to fucking talk. Like someone's going to fucking talk.
You don't want to be the person to confirm it. It's just like in a fucking like interview where if somebody asks you a question, like if somebody walked up to a Riot designer and goes, yo, is the next champion going to be an assassin? And they go, no, it's not going to be an assassin, but I can't tell you more. It's like, okay, they just eliminated, it's not assassin. So then they run up to a different designer on the same team and they go, is the next champion going to be, like they ask them a single question, right? So if you ask a bunch of people a single question and they all say like, because you're not going to say like, oh, the next champion is
an ADC.
Yeah, nobody said it's not an ADC, and you narrow it down that way, right? That's what's happening here. Is nobody's going to tell you it's an ADC. They're just going to tell you what it's not, and then you fill it in because they don't want to be the person who's named when it does get leaked, or they want to be the person who leaks it.
Exactly. And again, to me, I'm happy that at least somebody came forward and was like somebody with it that did work for TSM, like did come forward and be like, oh, now that there's like a name, like people can discredit like sure Albert Cohen, whatever. People can discredit him all they want. He was neither mine nor Loco's main source about this, but at least there's like another person that's like, okay, now you have a person that worked within TSM that is saying this, that it's like, shit, dude, that gives more validity to it for sure. Like, you can say whatever, that he overstepped his bounds is whatever. Like, at no point was Parth like, this guy is just like, is he a complete fucking liar? Is he making this shit up completely? Like, there was no like, I don't know. They just like hovered over that shit. It's just, you can see based off like what the statement dodges and like what they like confirm, like based off their statement, you can see like, oh, well, where is the gray area?
All right. I think we're starting to run circles just a bit here. Loco, was that what you're going to say, or?
Yeah, Daniel, just get us to the next topic. I already said a lot.
Yeah. No, that was it for us. So that's why I was like, all right.
Tier list.
Oh shit. Yeah, sorry, tier list. My bad. I didn't write it down on the list. My bad. So there's the TSM drama. Let's close things out here with our tier list for 2019, spring 2019 NALCS. Give me a second here. But again, I think for me, just at the end of the day, this could have all been taken care of if it would have been handled a little bit more professionally. professionally,
openly, not professionally.
That's what's at play here. That's what's at play here. Is people want to handle it professionally, but that doesn't mean openly. And some people are saying you should handle it openly, which doesn't mean like that it's going to be as professional as it could be.
Control the narrative. Like, tell us what the fuck is going on.
But the true story is something that is probably not our business. Right? It's for other people and people who want to work with him in the future, right?
Sure, but at the end of the day, if you have a team, if you have a team and you want to have fans that are invested in your team, what is happening within the team is the fans' business because you're asking them to be invested in your team. So
I get that. I understand that, but I think there's a limit to that.
Yeah, sure. Which is why I'm willing to on record put my name down and be like, yeah, so I've heard within people from people within TSM that there were like issues with play in between these two players. That's like as far as I'm willing to go. Into like what I'm willing to like put my name on.
The mistake to me was that they didn't have the foresight of, by making this move and putting in Spica, we needed to have something prepared, like they kind of shakily do have something prepared now with Acadian and the rest of TSM, or the Acadian and Parth, right? They just didn't think about it.
It's just like, honestly, the only, like, you have to think about it also like this. The only reason they made this statement is because there was like another statement that was made, like what we leaked on the show. Like that was like, and then the analyst came out and confirmed it, right? So like that is why they made a statement. They did not want to like have to clarify this.
TSM fans, give us clarity, give us more information. What's going on? Dom and Loco, give clarity, give information. No, not this.
Well, the more I think about it, I think what I would have wanted from them is confirmation on whether or not it was his performance in scrims, or if there was a team issue and he wasn't performing well with the team, or there was some type of blocker. Because they never confirmed that. They never said that we're using Spica because Acadian is not gelling with the team and we want to make a change here. It's very risky, but we feel like this is what's going to give us the best chance to win, given the situation that we have. And that's all we need is kind of the confirmation that is it Acadian's play? It's like, no, Acadian's performing well. It's just with the team in general, it just was not a match, right? Like, that's fine to say, but people were sitting there going, is he fucking sucking ass in scrims? Like, what's going on? And people are just confused. So they wanted some clarity or at least some direction on where to look. And I think that's what should have happened, is they should have been given at least that.
And that's clear enough where it allows shows like ours and just random people to ask whys, but they already gave a why. And it's not the most... the exact truth of exactly why, but it's more than enough, right? They've given you something. It's more than enough. So, all right.
Daniel, get us out.
All right.
Just like my solo queue games, get me out.
All right. So we are in our final bit here. It's our
we should do finals after this, though.
Oh, yeah.
This is going to be a long episode.
3-hour episode. Let's go.
I mean, I think support list is like kind of...
Is this a Thorin show?
Yeah. Support list was interesting. Like most of our lists, we had same at the top, at the bottom, kind of a little bit different. And then I think we value... who do we value the different the most? Big?
We value number one, I think,
Core JJ. I think. We're all Core JJ. All right, here we go. Right. Support tier list for 2019 summer. Bam. So Core JJ, they're at the top. Smoothie, number 2 here. Our number 2s were almost all different. But we had the same 4, except Vulcan higher for Loco. Loco being a big fan of Vulcan. As most of us are, but just not at 4 higher than Smoothie. So let's go down with Dom. Dom, go down your list here, and we'll critique and comment.
Core JJ is like by far the best. It's not even close, right?
Yep.
So I have Smoothie second because I think like I have to take into account like I think that he was one of the only players that played well on TSM. Like who else was playing well on TSM besides for like Smoothie throughout most of the split? Like Broken Blade was up and down, Bjergsen was up and down, etc. I think that Smoothie was pretty consistent. Like it wasn't like they were losing bot lane, and that's why like Sven looked bad. Like Sven just got caught a bunch, right? They would win lanes. They would get kills in lane. Like
they would also get killed. There's so many times where they would get ganked and they would also die 2v2. So I don't think it's I think it's impossible to just completely rid him from like the bot lane issues they've been having.
Yeah, sure. I don't think that he's bad, but I think that I don't think that he's just like a god, and that like I don't think he's as bad as people think. It was just hard for me to pick a second. I think the only person that I would potentially like put him below is Biofrost, but I couldn't even put him below somebody like Zeyzal because like if you look at like C9, right? Mm-hmm. Zeyzal and Siki were a huge issue the entire split, right? Like they were like the worst part of C9 this split. So I don't know. Like it's mainly just like I don't know who I can consider good besides for maybe Biofrost, CoreJJ, and Smoothie. Like who else can be considered that good? Like Vulcan had a pretty bad split for most of it up until the end. Like yeah.
I love the Twitch chat theory. Smoothie leaked, so Dom's doing you a favor. That's fine.
Leaker. Yeah, fucking right. I feel like Smoothie would not talk about that type of shit, to be honest.
Nah, Andy's not like that.
Smoothie's a pro.
Yeah.
Loco, you had the biggest switch here with Vulcan that high and Smoothie that low. What are your thoughts?
Smoothie was part of the TSM bot lane problems. Like I love Smoothie. Smoothie's my second favorite player on TSM, but he was part of the problems. Like so, I can't rate him that high. Where Vulcan had such a quietly good split with Cody, and he was a core reason of Clutch doing well. Vulcan just doesn't get credit, but he's forced to play primary engage on non-primary engage champions, where almost all the other teams are having Seju Jarvan be their primary engage. He's forcefully playing All-Star. He's forcefully playing Rakan. He's playing Braum to primarily engage. I think Vulcan definitely deserves credit. So I have no qualms about Vulcan being number 4 on my list.
But Smoothie being number 5.
He played bad. Like there's games he legitimately played bad. He was part of the problem with like TSM bot lane. Like Zben was bad, and Zben is the bigger name, so Zben gets majority of the blame. But if you go back and watch the game, like Smoothie was just as much the problem.
And then the last one, I think Bio over Zeyzal. Why is that? I agree with you, but I'd like you to explain your thoughts there.
Zeyzal and Sneaky suck together.
I'm really surprised you have Zeyzal so high.
Yeah, because I feel like the smoothie thing.
Well, all your guys' lists, like I felt
one higher than yours.
Yeah, I'm surprised that you can even put him like top 3 is like it's so hard for me to put him top 3 because they lost like so many lanes, like so hard too. Like it's not like they like narrowly lost lanes, like they were losing lanes by like 30 CS in like 10 minutes.
Zeyzal was god awful at Lux, and they did play against Yuumi lanes, so their start was kind of shitty. But as things got ramped up, I think Zeyzal did well. I just wouldn't have Smoothie that high. I think that's why, like, cause what if Smoothie is high on yours? Like that's why Zeyzal got bumped up on mine because I didn't have Smoothie that high. But I think his later split really made up for him.
Yep.
Aiden, why'd you have Zeyzal too?
TSM's at the door, dude. No.
Wait, you're innocent. You're innocent. Tell them you weren't talking.
I don't give a fuck, dude. After what you guys done to me, dude, I'm ready to go out. Please, at least give me a story. If I die on Facecheck, that will get some fucking good views.
Good for the content, dude.
Daniel, if you ever see if you see loud noises, make sure you go to the webcams. Okay, don't.
Oh yeah, my bad. Hey, look, sure if anyone's worried, there's Dom. Dom's okay. He's all right. He's still there.
Yeah.
Dude, that's why Dom went to Europe. He leaked the TSM stuff, and he went to Europe.
He had to seek asylum.
Witness protection.
I actually live like 2 minutes away from the TSM house. I've been there quite a few times actually, but that is not how I know.
Hayden, you had Zeyzal number 2. We've kind of hit on the fact that Zeyzal and Sneaky were not great, but you have them still high up. Why so?
Yeah, I think for me, I value lane a little bit less than everybody else. Like I value lane a decent amount, but I value like what people do with their champions and knowing their role in the mid game, because I think that's probably the most important part of the game for me. So my value criteria is like the people who seem to know what where they need to be on the map in the mid game. So that I value the people who are going to make those crazy rotations and be an X factor in the game. So like sure, Sneaky and Zeyzal in lane, Jesus Christ, for especially the first half of the split. But even in those games, they were still picking up victories because he was able to figure out like who he needs to play to. Like, he's like, fuck this lane, I'm roaming. And he would like make the right play for the situation. Now, granted, lane definitely takes a hit there for him. But I think that Zeyzal in particular was somebody who knew how to play the engaged champions and the pick champions and have like a versatile champion pool that I felt I never felt like I had a moment where I'm like, Zeyzal's on this champion. God damn. Like, oh man, that's not like his style. Like I felt like he was really comfortable on everything. It's just the lanes were really rough for them because him and Sneaky were not doing well together.
Gotcha.
So that's how I value things, is like the mid-game plays is a little bit higher for me.
We had other big variants here a little bit further down the list. I don't think we have too many qualms, and I think we've already hit the discussions between Bio, Zeyzal, Vulcan, and Smoothie. I think we kind of clearly hit those four, and we have them as our top 5 behind Core JJ. But then after that, we have a big drop-off between Big. I think Big was an interesting one for me because when I look back at my 80 carries, I think Arrow is one of the top-performing 80 carries, and I think Big is an enabler for that. There are a lot of times where he gets caught out, but just like we're going to penalize Smoothie and Zeyzal for bad performances in the bot lane, you got to also give points to a good bot lane for Big. Dom, you had Big pretty low down there. He's 10th on your.
Yeah, I've just always thought he was bad, to be honest. I always thought he was bad, and even now I still think he's bad. Like I just never thought he was like a player that I liked watching play. You know, like there's so many times where I just see him like run it down where I'm just like, what the hell is he doing? You know, like, he has those like bad moments, and I guess he's had more good moments before, but it was hard for me to like tell. All right, so like, if you look at Optic, right, they're a playoff team, right? They ended up being a playoff team. If Crown, Arrow, and Meteos are good, then 2 players have to be fucking bad, and those 2 players, like, because if they're not winning, right, like the 2 players that are fucking bad to me were Dokla and Big.
Okay.
So. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
Optic talked about, or I think it might have been Zabatine. I forgot who I talked to from Optic, but they talked about Big contributing to shot calling, and part of him being there and part of what he does makes their vision be good, makes their macro be good. So I gave Big a little bit more points.
Yeah, I gave him points for vision because I thought that his vision control was actually one of the things that allowed them to close out games. And, you know, fuck having like, you know, Dokla on your team and all that, but if you can at least ward for him appropriately so he doesn't get just destroyed every single time, or you know when 2 people are collapsing on him. So I was like watching that pretty in particularly for them, because I thought the only way Optic really like didn't lose games was if Dokla could actually like not get hard camped, or when he did get camped, they made it worth it because they would have vision in place. So I felt like Big kind of knew what he had to do in the mid game for them in terms of vision. So that's why he's higher on mine. I actually don't like to put shot calling in for like tier lists a lot of the time. Because I'm like, if like a mid laner, like if like Bjergsen's a shot caller and Jensen's not, and they're of equal skill, does that mean, or Jensen's a little bit better than him in mid lane, does Bjergsen get points for being a shot caller? Because it's not a demand of the role. It's not like part of mid lane, right? Yeah, it is. You
can't really know though. Like that's part where you have to kind of like, you have to factor it in, but like it can't be one of the main things that you think about because like you haven't heard the fucking comms. Like,
I think that's
people can be like, Big is a good shot caller, but like I don't know. I mean, the other teams he was on were like notoriously really bad. So it's like, I don't know.
I don't like shot calling as a consideration for tier lists. I like it for MVP because it's the player overall instead of just their role. That's kind of how I see things.
And I like the way that you quantify some of the shot calling, or, you know, the extra stuff that they get through vision, right? You're like, Big's known to ward up the map, and that allows.
Well, it's part of his role, right?
Right.
It's part of his role. I would say he does that well for his role. If it was like a fucking AD and I'm like, the AD actually puts wards down, I'm like, it's not really a part of his role. It's like a bare minimum. It's not something I actually value a high amount. So
in that middle cluster, along with Big, except for Dom, we also have the vets. We have Afro and Hakuho, and we can even throw in Ole in there. These guys, middle of the road. The question for everyone is this it? Are they going up? Are they going down? Or is this just kind of where they're at until newer players usurp their spot?
I mean, I think that the Afro had a better split than he did last split for sure. Like he got definitely better. It's just hard to like put him like that much higher. You know, like he didn't stand out that much to me where I could suddenly put him in the next like higher echelon. But I thought that he was a good player for sure. This split, like I didn't think he was bad.
He was not a bad player.
Yeah, which like the other people, I'm like starting to consider them kind of bad. Like I think Hakuho has like definitely more potential than Afromu. It has had like higher highs, but I think that he had like for Hakuho's standards, like in other splits, you like for example in last season, you'd probably have him like top 3 or top 4 a lot of the time because you know when Clutch was doing well, he was the main reason why that team was like actually getting wins. But he had a bad split, so a bad split for him puts him at about like 7th on my list.
I'm not sure like what to say about Afro. I agree that he had a better summer, but whose trajectory looks better, Afro or Vulcan? Because I think Afro can get to his heights, but it's just how likely is it gonna be?
Oh, like, sure. Like, he's definitely behind Vulcan. Like, I don't think there's a question about that.
When I think of like the supports I put ahead of them, like Smoothie, Vulcan, Zazel, Bio, Core, JJ, they're all on better teams, so it's gonna be easier for them to get better. They're gonna work with better ADs. So yeah, I'm not sure how Afro jumps up the list other than like a lot of effort from himself and meeting the right teammates.
I think last thing I wanted to touch on here, no one really touched on it, Ole. So Ole kind of stuck in Elo Hell right now and the Academy roster very much like a someday. Is Ole going to find a team next split? Is he going to have an opportunity to try to get back to form or prove that he's not just double lifts Ward or worse than Huhi role swapping?
I don't know. I followed Ole's career for a while back when he was like one of the big Morgana players back in the LMS, right? And he was like getting top 2 there, top 3, like very, very consistently. Comes over here, pretty good performance at the start, but I think Ole is getting to the point where I don't like using this term, but it's the only way I can kind of think of it, is it's like he's becoming like damaged goods in a sense, where he has shown that he needs to start showing a track record where when things get rough, he can actually persevere and push through, because a lot of teams don't want to like sit there and go, is this guy going to like ditch us in these like high intensity moments, or is he going to feel the pressure and it's going to affect his play heavily? Because we've seen that on multiple teams, even when he had good players around him, even when he's had bad players around him, he's overplayed, which makes him underperform, right? Like he tries to do too much in a lot of these games, and that's why he looks so bad, is because he's trying so hard. He wants it really badly, but I feel like that's counterintuitive to how Ole is going to show teams that he is worth picking up, because he's not a stable player in terms of his performance at all.
I feel like he's not, even though I put him low on the list too, just because you have to, like based off the split, like you just to not be a delusional analyst, you have to put him like probably like
bottom 8,
10th and lower, right? Like he has to be that bad, or like 9th and lower, whatever. So it's like if you're gonna like, I think he's good. It's just like this split he played really bad, and it's just like if you just get him in the right environment, you get his like mental sorted, he feels confident, I feel like he can be a monster. But it's just right now he's just. It sounds
like he's the inverse Dardoch.
I mean, I feel like it's just I feel so much differently about Ole than Big. Like even though I guess when I relook at it, I think the Big probably had a better split than Ole did. It just I feel like this was the worst that Ole could play, really. And then it's like I don't know. And in some games, like people kind of like overshit on him, I think. Like he had some really disgustingly good Tahm Kench games. Like he was like carrying games as a support on Tahm Kench in like this year. So he definitely does like have it in him to be a top player in NA for sure.
He makes plays. He makes plays.
Top player in NA. I actually disagree with that. I think Ole I thought middle.
I think in 2017 summer, I thought he was like one of the best players in the league.
Yeah, everyone did. He was second in MVP voting behind Bjergsen, I believe.
Oh, really? Yeah. Well, shit, I didn't know that. But like, yeah, I thought he was like an insane.
That was the Karma Thresh Bard where he was hitting rank 1, right?
That was Karma Thresh Bard. Yeah, he was hitting rank 1. He was playing Morgana too. Like he would just hit insane skill shots and just win like every lane. Like Cody and him would just win every fucking lane. And I even saw that at points with TL, you know, like those points where Ole was playing well. Like I mean, everyone remembers spring finals when like they did like the mic check and then Double Lift was like hugging him and he was like crying and stuff. And Abdul was like, "Holy shit, you're so fucking good, Ole. You're actually insane." Like there's times where he has played really well when it's counted. So that gives you a lot of credit in my book. Like being able to play really well when it counts and win championships, like that means something to me.
He did have extreme hype, but when he then, as Zareen said, when like there was pressure and there was like hardship, Ole cracked.
Oh yeah, like legitimately, like you're talking about with the mic check with Ole and Double Lift, where he's like, "You're so fucking good." That's what Ole needs to thrive. If you like say a negative critique of him, like he like gets close to shutting down or like almost resentful to the point where he needs to like prove himself.
Yeah,
so it's like it's that thing where somebody's like tells you you're a shit player in game, and like you should gank their lane. So then you like resentfully gank their lane, and then it goes poorly because you like fuck it up or you're nervous.
Or they're like, see, you are a shit player.
Yeah, you're like you're forcing something because you want to prove to them that you're not shit, right? And that's what I see in his play.
He's just fragile. Like I think he's extremely fragile, but he's good. Like he's a good fragile player. That's how I see him.
And Ole is supposed to be what Core JJ is now, right? And was on track to do that, and was doing so both on Immortals and on TL. But unfortunately, you know, that's why I think it's so Ole's story is so interesting, right? And it's not even just him as a person.
Core JJ is more complete, not fragile leader.
Yeah, he just seems so strong.
Like
Core JJ seems like such like a strong player. Like I'm never going into a series and I'm like, oh shit, I wonder if the pressure's gonna be too much for Core JJ. Like it feels like it doesn't matter. Like he'll fucking play the way he needs to play no matter what. Like I mean Core JJ is on another fucking level. I don't think that no matter what Ole does for the rest of his life, I don't think he'll ever be as good as Core JJ. Like that's not happening. But I think that he could potentially be like I could see him being like a top 3 or top 4 support in NA. Like if the supports play like they did this split, like there wasn't a clear second best support. I don't think.
Yep.
Like Biofrost was okay. Like Zazel had ups and downs. Like Smoothie had ups. Like no one played that good besides for Core JJ. It was like Core JJ is the best, and no one else is even fucking close. That's how support tier list was. So I think that he could eventually he could start out competing some of those other people like. For like a second or third or fourth best support in NA slot pretty easily, I think.
All right, cool. Well, I think that is ours. Go ahead, Zarian.
I'm like, I wanted to check the All Pro team and see like the difference in points, and he's got 100. He's got 136, and the next is 73 with Biofrost.
There's a fucking chasm. What if people only did number 1 votes? Did anyone put Core JJ if not as their number 1? Because that's fucking trolling.
Somebody must have. Let's see.
That person literally needs to lose their job. Like they're just garbage at whatever job they're doing.
Where is this? Number 1 support Core JJ.
That's not Kane. That's not TL member because TL can't put Core JJ at first.
I don't see it.
Is that Pastry Time put Biofrost?
Oh man.
Chloe stats person put Biofrost.
Bye Chloe.
How can you you have to be fucking delusional?
Yeah, so
or
just 2 people
watch all the games. Like there's no way that you can watch those games and not think Core JJ is the best. Like what? He was literally just like 1v9 in games like frequently. What the fuck?
Wow.
Like you can't not have him as the best.
Only 2
trolling.
Yeah, only 2 people didn't vote for Core JJ number 1. It was Pastry Time and then Chloe, who's from Stats. And then if you look at Doublelift, everybody put him first except for Arrow, who put Sneaky first. Wow. Is the only person who didn't put him first.
Yeah, and that's just trolling too. That's literally a hater because Sneaky had such a bad split. This is like one of Sneaky's worst splits, I think, in terms of regular season gameplay. So like, I don't know. I just think that when you look at this type of situation, like out of all the tier lists that we did, Core JJ was better than the second best person in his role by the biggest gap, right? Like if you look at like
him and Double, I think him and Double are the high. It's arguable.
Really? You think it's arguable?
Stixay. The second AD we put was Stixay, and that was also kind of meh.
Yeah, I think that's kind of meh, but I don't think that's like the level of meh that like either Biofrost or Smooth. Like Core JJ played so like because I think Core JJ played better than Doublelift did this split. I think the Core JJ was like a better support than Doublelift was an AD this split. So it's like I see like a higher high with Core JJ. So that's why I view it as like this was the biggest gap.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. It's him and then everybody else.
All right, cool. That's gonna conclude here for our tier lists and our all pro team stuff. You have anything, Dom?
No, let's just give a quick predictions for finals.
Yeah. Go for it, Dom.
This was a super tough one because TL definitely looked worse than C9 last week. Mm-hmm. But I start thinking about like how, like last season, 2018 summer, people thought that C9 was looking better than TL as well. Before the finals. And they got 3-0 dicked by TL.
That was when like the Hecarim top for Licorice and then they like completely deviated from their strategy.
No, and people like forget like that was when TL C9 beat TL in like week 9 and then like shit on their fucking playoffs And it looked like kind of scary. Like that was one where I was like, damn. So I feel like TL for some reason has C9's number.
Well, I talked to players and like coaches going into that, and even TL, like Doublelift was saying that like they were getting shit on in scrims by C9. Like they were like they were losing to C9 in scrims.
And then they just 3-0 dick them. They 3-0 dick them on stage. So
they were so surprised.
I'm gonna say TL 3-1. Based on like how I feel like the players are gonna feel in the match. I feel like it's really tough to get shit on by TL in a finals and then next year go back and not harbor any of that. Like I feel like C9 is the type of team where they do actually take some of that into consideration, or like they are a field-based team. And I kind of saw that with how they started like looking more and more unsure against CLG, right? Like they were like winning, and then like as soon as it was like, oh shit, let's not get reverse swept, they started like trolling, like choking a little bit. I feel like TL has like the mental edge against C9. Like they feel confident against C9. So I'm gonna put TL. Let's say 3-2. Let's say TL 3-2 over C9.
Shit! Oh shit! I want to go first next time. I have what is it? TL 3-2 also, but I have it for different reasons. So I think TL looks worse and C9 looks better because C9 just figured the fuck out of CLG. And they just showed their base level of draft, and CLG was never able to figure it out. So that's why C9 looks so good in their series versus CLG. On the other hand, TL versus Clutch, TL kind of entered the draft, and they didn't figure out Clutch until Game 5, where they banned Kiana, Gangplank, Rumble, and they were just getting dicked by stuff that Clutch was good at. So TL looks much worse. So I think if you look at semis, you could even say C9 looked better than TL, but I think when they match up,
they did.
It's going to be TL 3-2.
Aiden?
I'm struggling because I know I like the way. All right, so the way that I feel is that I think that when they match up against each other, that TL will win. But for some reason, I have this gut feeling that C9 is going to win. It's like you know that feeling that you like can't shake. It's like when you're in the mid game and you're like, this team is going to win. They have like that armor. They're going to like pull it out. Like I feel like C9 is going to win 3-1. That's the feeling I get. Like logically, I'm like, well, TL is the better team and all that. But for some reason, I like picture Svenskeren doing really fucking well this whole split, and actually like being the difference in the jungle that they need up against Xmithy, who like people haven't been able to get too many inches against. So I'm gonna go with C9 3-1 and kind of put it on the back of Svenskeren potentially getting the MVP for the series.
Wow. Damn. Wait, can you go a little bit more into it? Because
I think he's just been having like an amazing season all around, and I think Xmithy hasn't been as solid as he has been in the past. Granted, it's just like one step down, but I think that's kind of the edge that Svenskeren has always needed in that matchup, because he's always been Xmithy has been like the brick wall that he's pressed up against and like tried to smash for so long. But I think that this is finally the time where there's cracks in it, and that he'll be able to like make those huge plays. Like he's playing with a lot of confidence the entire split. So I kind of envision like Svenskeren popping off in this series. Yeah, like logically, I'm like TL, you know, core JJ, they have a lot of experience. They don't crack under pressure. Like I can see that, but I can't shake the feeling that C9 is going to win. Now, maybe that's not like a good analyst point of view, but I feel like I can't ignore how well Svenskeren has been doing.
No, gut feeling's important.
Yeah, gut feeling, that it's like one of those things where it's like based off eye test, I kind of feel like C9 will take it.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, so I'll say C9 3-1.
On the record, 3-1. So we've got 3-2 TL, 3-2 TL, 3-1 Cloud9. Obviously, you already know how this script goes, and the only reason why we didn't see it in the semifinals is because CLG didn't take off 2 games against my Cloud9 boys, and so because they didn't, we didn't have to unleash the best AD carry in the West in 2021. And so once they go down 2-1, because mid lane's going to be a coin flip between the two very aggressive mid laners, they're going to need some stability in the bot lane. Licorice is doing his part. It's just a little too, you're losing a little bit too hard. You need someone that can win in lane, possibly survive through lane, have such great stats in lane, and recombine the E-United bot lane of Deathly and Zeyzal. He stabilizes there. That allows Niski to get the attention from Svenskeren needed, and they win 3-2 and take home the championship over in Detroit. 3-2 Cloud.
I hope when C9 goes to Worlds, they don't take Deathly as a sub, so I don't have to fucking hear about this shit.
Yeah, just like, I wish you had Weird Champ enabled in your chat so I could just Weird Champ Degon over and over again.
Thanks, man. All right.
I'll go enable it just for this shit.
So you say 3-2 Cloud9?
3-2 Cloud9. I hope definitely gets a game.
Wow. Is that one of the two that they're losing?
No, it's not. All right. That's it. So here we are. We've gone through everything except the finals. It's been one heck of a journey so far with Facecheck. Not done yet. We'll have our next episode here in next Monday to catch up all the action from Detroit. If you go to Detroit, please have fun. Don't drink the water. Don't talk to strangers. What else about Detroit? Visit the Motor Museum and please give money so that you can help the economy in Detroit. Anything else from everybody?
Well, nope. I hope I could have. I know some TSM fans is not going to change their mind, and they're going to be they're going to buy the PR stuff no matter what. But if I change one TSM fan's mind and they started to logic things more, then I think we did our job.
Yep, for sure.
All right, cool. Thank you guys so much for our longest episode ever. We'll catch you next week to recap all the action of the finals. See you guys.